Hello, everyone. Uh-oh.
Hello.
Good morning. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you guys for joining me. How are you today?
Doing good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I appreciate you guys coming in. I really do. And hopefully this is going to be a life-changing experience if you are looking to really master your credit. So I wanted to, I'm about to see, I'm just getting some technical things together. Let me just see if I can share. Okay, there I am. So we're good to go. So I'm so glad that you guys have came in to join me. I appreciate each and every one of you. And hopefully, like I said, this will be educational and life-changing where everyone, I want us to get prepared to participate because it's just not going to me just showing you hacks. I want you guys to really understand if you're applying these methods, what you're going to do and what you're doing it like really for. And moving forward, you can help people in your family once you learn this information and be able to really discern what's going on with people's situation if you see some factors. So I hope everyone is ready and excited for the information that we're about to share today. So I'm just going to give, because it's like 50 people that signed up, if you just be patient with me, I'm going to give everyone to the time of 6 Eastern Standard Time and here on Central Time, that 5 p.m. mark. So just sit tight for me and we're about to get started.
Okay.
All right, I am back, you guys. I just want to make some adjustments.
Once again, unable to
so you can see. As you guys come in, if you can, try to mute yourself for me. And I don't want to do it manually because if you have questions, I want to give you guys during this process. Oh, am I muted? Give me 1 second. We can hear you. Oh, you hear me? Okay, I don't know. It said mute in the corner, but thank you. During this process, because I want us to be interactive, so you'll get a chance to learn, by voicing what you guys are gathering. So I want everybody to get an opportunity while we wait really quickly. If you can just tag in, and let me know what your goals is for joining me today. What are you looking to accomplish? If you have any volunteers and nobody is under pressure to speak.
After jurors are unable to reach a verdict in H.A. Armstrong pre-trial, one of them who thought he was guilty disdained to speak out, although she asked that we not show her case.
I feel everyone was more so focused on the defenses. Was Josh being effective and everyone just wasn't focusing on the actual facts? Because at one point, everyone said, oh, we know she did it, we know she's not, and
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know if it's my sound or if you can move close so I can hear some of your statements again. Can you please repeat what you just said? Oh, I'm sorry. The sound is coming in and out. I believe it's Victoria. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Let me look at the chat. Okay, so I got, maybe if it makes it easier, we'll just put it in the chat because it could have some issues with everybody. I do, hello? Okay, I see Tamiko. If you guys just do me a favor and mute your background, everyone. Mute your background. She said that her goals is to increase her credit score. Ethan is saying his goal is to increase my credit score and help my family. And those are really great ways. Jim wants to increase his credit score and higher limits on his credit card. And Karen is also saying, yes, I too would get my credit score up and to get out of debt. And that is a great goal to do so. Sheer saying to remove items that keep returning. Okay, so that's a good point. And increase your credit score and your credit tips. I haven't already basically heard. So that's a good one. So I'm gonna keep in mind, because if you have a lot of issues where you're removing items and they're coming back, we're gonna discuss that on how you can stop that moving forward in the future. And we have someone else saying to increase their credit score, Lee saying to better his credit score. And everybody is saying basically to increase their credit score like Simone, and also her goal is to apply for auto loan. And Mr. Scott, or Miss Scott, is T. Scott, saying to increase their credit score. So everyone is in the same vein and category. So that is great. You're in the right place. And if you have questions along the way, we're going to include it in the chat. And also, we're going to try to address some of these questions in the process, if I can, as we go along. So I'm going to get started. I'm just going to give people another few minutes to come in. And I'm going to make sure that if everyone can just go ahead and silence or put their mic on mute, that will be helpful. So we're going to get started in a few minutes. Give me 1 second, and let's just give people 5 more minutes to get in. If not, they can just catch up as they come, because we have a round to try to cover. So welcome everyone.
I just wanted to interject real quick.
Sure.
If you all did, if anybody had a question, could you please use the raise the hand reaction thing before you speak? And then, because if not, I'm just gonna automatically mute everybody. So not to be rude, but I'll just automatically mute everybody just to keep the sound and the quality of the webinar going. And if you have, like, you want to chime in outside of the chat, go ahead and just use the raise your hand thing so we can acknowledge that, just to, you know, just some housekeeping rules here.
Well, thank you. That's my daughter, Diamond, everyone. So she is here operating, helping me out. with the technical side. She also has a channel, Diamond Chanel. So if you want to check her out, we'll leave that information too. She has some good information also. So hopefully we have everybody that has joined us through this process. And I am about to get started in one more minute. We're just going to give everyone an opportunity to come in. And it's coming down to the last minutes, and we're going to get started to cover this information. All right, let's get started, everyone. And my name is Sherry Beckley, if you're not familiar. A lot of you are connecting with me from either, probably mass majority are connecting with me from YouTube. And also I do a lot of content on Facebook. I want to welcome you guys to this webinar. And today we're going to cover a lot of important information for you guys to be able to increase your credit score. That is what the majority of people are saying in the chat, and also to remove negative items off of their credit report. So we're going to start to discuss this. And like I said, I want this to be an interactive experience between us, because I find with me myself, I learn when you're able to ask questions and really get a chance to interact, so you can see the information that's being given, if it's being retained. So we're going to go into the next slide, and this is going to be very important for everyone to understand. Now, there's a couple of things that you need to know if you're starting to work on your credit. I'm just going to move this out the way. Give me 1 second, everyone. Now, if you're beginning to work on your credit, in order for your credit score to go up, you have to not have open negative account information going on. So what I'm saying is, like, in the forms of, if you have a car right now and you're behind on your payments, that's an open account. It's not in a charge off state. It's not in a collection state. It is an actual open account, and every late payment that reports on that open account in that example will cause your credit score to be held down for 3 months. Okay, so you won't see your score go up or heal until that negative account or that late payment stop dinging you every month. You can see this happen sometimes with charge-offs. You might even have a charge-off and they're just dinging you every month with late payments with that charge-off. So we'll discuss later on, if it is a charge-off, some steps you can take for this to stop happening to you. But as long as that's going on, it's hard to increase your credit score. So if you have any open accounts that you're behind, like credit card accounts, you need to pay that current. And then I suggest wait 60 days and then start applying these steps that you're going to get in this webinar. So once you guys begin this process, it is important that you will not miss any payments moving forward. So you can start this process, your score goes up, and if you miss a payment or any new negative information come up, such as a new collection, a new charge off, it can decrease your credit score significantly depending on where your score is at that point. So a person with a 700 credit score, a new negative item, you may see a bigger drop, maybe like 50 to 60 points compared to someone who's already at a 580 credit score. They might get hit with only 15 points, but it is pushing them back, and it will do the same thing with you in those examples. So that is an important part. You want to, as you're going forward for this to work for you, have no more new inquiries. If all is possible, if you're not applying for credit, as we're going to go over this, for things that you're kind of like guaranteed, or there's a good chance, just don't aimlessly start just applying for things and you have no idea whether you're going to fit in that category for what they're looking for. So we don't want to do that. If you have student loans, you want to bring them current at least for 6 months. 3 months also, because if it's late payments going on, it still will not report. Now, if it's in default status, you can see an approval in your credit score if it's not reporting things negatively every month. But if you bring that account current, and sometimes it can cause things to go off, even if it was in a negative status, you might see a slight decrease initially, but it's just still better for you to go ahead and bring that account current, like a student loan, for your moving forward. So also, you want to send out debt validation letters immediately when you first start this process that we're going to discuss starting with this webinar, because this is going to help. But I want you to take this first module that we're covering and do these steps first. And then I want you to focus on your dispute processes more or less secondly. Okay, so you'll send out debt validation letters, but I want you to take these steps of really finding credit lines, and we're going to discuss why. Now, any, like I said, new negative item, judgment, bankruptcies, collections, anything in public records that's negative can regress your process. And you don't want to overspend on your credit cards if you have some currently, because if you go over 30%, it will decrease your credit score, okay? Another thing, you guys, that some people don't know, you need to, even though your utilization is 30% and it takes account of all your credit cards and it gives you an average. If you have one card close to being maxed out, and I'm going to tell you for safe, going beyond 60% of utilization on that one card, and everything else can be cleared off, like you don't even have a balance. So it looks like my overall utilization is good, but because that one card is so close to being maxed out, you may not see your score go up until you pay that card down. And I'm going to tell you to pay it down to 49% at best, just to be safe. Okay, so keep that in mind. I had worked with a client, and I don't know why they did this, because it was a small credit card that they had, but they had larger lines. And why they chose to charge something on that small line, when I say small, it's like a $300 credit limit. And they charged it on, they put some charges on that card, and the interest rate wasn't that good. It was a beginner credit card that they had, and now they have better lines. They charged it on that, and they went over the limit. And they couldn't figure out, well, why is my score not going up? Even though the overall utilization looked good. But that's because you charged, you maxed out one credit card. So you don't want to do that. So you want to pick and choose which cards you want to use. And you want to make sure you use in your utilization the highest limit credit card if all possible, instead of those small credit cards if you have other credit cards that you can choose from. So that is some groundwork. And other things I want you guys to keep in mind, your results will be different because your starting point is different. But we're going to really focus on getting those 100 points for you. But if you're starting at a 580 credit score or at a 500 credit score, your strategy is much different than a person with a 725 credit score. And we're going to discuss that. So your different outcomes are based a lot of time on your credit score and what you need to do. A person that has a higher credit score and the 700s and above, you're already past that threshold. And unfortunately, you might not see the increase as fast as someone who's at a 500, a 580 credit score. The lower the credit score, the more a person will see an increase on some of the changes that they were made, okay? So just keep that in mind. The good part about having a lower credit score, you can increase it pretty quickly if you take the right steps. People with a 700 credit score and better, you want to focus on tweaking your credit score to address those issues that you're having trouble and causing you not to have that 800 credit score mark. So you want to always maintain these requirements that I'm speaking about, and also understand this course is for educational purpose only, and none of this is constituting legal advice. Now, understanding your credit score. Now, I want you guys to remember this one thing moving forward in this course. If you can, grab a pen and a piece of paper. I understand everybody is not big note takers. I wasn't, but I want you guys to jot down the important information that pertains to you. And I want you to jot this down, because this is the starting point to change your mind about your credit. Understand you are the ultimate authority over your credit. Don't let anybody fool you. All people that's teaching like you're just, just being tossed to and fro by the credit bureaus. You are not. Ultimately, credit is just an algorithm only dictated by your own personal behavior. If you want to change your credit score, you're the one with all the power to change your credit score. Nobody else. It's all on you. So if you know that you're the ultimate authority, all you need to know is what to do and what not to do. Credit is just like, at this point, a generated video game. You just got to know the right buttons at the right time and what not to do to see your score increase. So you need to learn these factors and understand how they're really registering these factors about you. Then you know what to do and what to avoid. So it's all about education. Then the second part is about your income, okay? You cannot qualify for things you cannot afford. It's just, it doesn't work that way. There are avenues where you can show that. There's certain things you could do. Once again, that's all on you. Honestly, if you're living in the United States, you are wealthier than, I jotted down, if you're making $10,000 a year, you are wealthier than 84% of people in this world, just off of $10,000 a year. Living in America, you are wealthier than 1/3 or 2/3 of the world's population. So most of y'all that's joining me, you're living in America. And let me tell you, you have the control and you have the opportunity to change your income. So that is going to be on you. If you're not able to increase your income for your credit, you're going to have to adjust your spending. That's just what it is. You're going to have to adjust your spending. You're going to have to cut back, or you're going to have to increase your income, learn how to increase your savings, and then learn what not to do to hit the radar on this credit system. Learn how to make yourself presentable. And here's the key, very simple. If you guys, we all have people in our family that may be notorious for not paying people back. Think about it like this. You know, they borrowed money from your mother, didn't pay her back. Borrow money from your cousin, didn't pay her back. Borrow money from your grandmother, and the list go on. When they have that reputation and they come to borrow money from you, either one, you're going to say no, because you have a record of not paying people back. Or two, if I'm going to lend to you, I'm just going to give you a little bit. You only going to get $20 maxed out of me. And that is on my requirement on how I see things. My next cousin might only give you $5. Okay. That is how the banks are with you. If you are not paying them back, it's created a record. This is being known about you. Different banks may loan to you, but because your reputation is so low, you might not get the most. And then you can't knock that person, if you have that reputation, for not lending to you to that. So you got to keep that in mind, because you wouldn't do the same thing. You're not going to do. A lot of people, they'll say that they will not do the same thing. They're not going to lend your own money. So these are businesses. So you have to think about it. You're going to have to start creating the reputation of paying on time. And it could be really good. I had a real good excuse. You know, this was my situation. I got in a bind and this and that. Nevertheless, you or probably other people in your family, until you start to create a reputation of paying people back, they're not going to lend to you. So you got to look at that in that sense. What would I do to lend to me? You know, so you want to take your profile to look like that. Remember, these people don't see you in person. They don't get a chance to interact, that you have a nice personality. You're who you are presenting to the bank simply on a piece of paper. So your credit score is your financial report card and how you're scoring. So you want to take yourself back when you were in high school. We're going to discuss the factors, or even if you were in elementary school, if a person didn't graduate high school, what was the factors that you got those good grades? Okay. And understand with those good grades, different, Diamond, can you mute? I think with those good grades, different people and different teachers had different standards on how they were going to grade you. So keep that in mind. Understanding your credit score. What is a credit score? Credit scores are used to determine your credit worthiness by lenders. Now, there's different credit scoring models, but 90% of lenders are going to use FICO scores. So keep that in mind. FICO score stands for the Fair Isaac Corporation. This is the corporation that creates various of credit scores for lenders. And the FICO score FICO scores are calculated based only on the information in the consumer credit report maintained by the three major credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So that is your financial report card. Now, FICO score ranges. So your score ranges is for the FICO score from 300 to 850. If you're a person with a 580 and below, that is considered a poor credit score, is well below the United States average. Fair is from 580 to 669 is going to be a fair credit score. So you're in the fair range, kind of average range. Good credit score is from 670 to 739. This is slightly above the average credit scores. So most lenders would consider this a good credit. And very good is going to be from 739 to 799. Exceptional will be 800 and plus. You're a lower risk. Now, when it comes down to your FICO scores, from my, information, honestly, a lot of people chase the 850 credit score. As we break down, there's going to be a lot of factors to get to that 800 plus credit score. And a lot of that is your age of credit. It's kind of hard for a young person of a certain age that doesn't have a deep credit history to get to an 850 credit score. So it's just certain factors. So what I want you guys to concentrate on is getting above that 700. Honestly, if you can get to 720 to 730 and plus, you're going to just about get the same rate as somebody as 800 if you're above. If you're at 780, if you're at a 770, you're going to get the 800 and the 850 interest rates anyway. So understand that part of it. You want to really focus of getting to that at least 720, 725 and above, and leveraging that credit score for you as best as possible. Sometimes don't split the hairs and get all caught up in this, and that. You want to make this really work for you at that point to save you money and to put you in a better position in life. Now, these are the average ages of these FICO scores, because like I just mentioned, some things people need age of credit in order to get to that really prime 850, 800 mark. So people from 20 to 29, the average credit score is 662. People from 30 to 39, 673. People from 40 to 49, 684 on average, and people from 50 to 59 on average is going to be a 706 credit score, and those 60 and up on average is going to be a 749. And like I said, that goes back to age of credit. So older people generally will have certain credit lines that's longer. So for example, a mortgage is 30 years. So they might have that kind of open line of credit reporting for a longer period of time that can help them get to that prime credit score. Now, discussing that there are different FICO scoring models. So we're taking the example back to high school. You had a multitude of teachers. Everybody did not grade the same. Some teachers was harder, some teachers was more lackadaisical, and some teachers will allow you to do extra credit in order to give you that upgrade. This is kind of the same thing. The newest scoring model that's rolled out is FICO 10, and FICO 10T is added component of FICO 10, and it's trending data. It's not widely used right as of now, but it's rolling out this year. FICO 9 is not widely used, but you'll see that mostly with the credit unions with that. Now, one good thing about FICO 9, they don't take medical collections in count of grading your credit score. So, but other collections, consumer collections, they will factor that in, but medical, they won't. Now, the most common FICO score that's used is FICO 8, and that's for auto and bank account lending. Auto and credit card lending. And then you have FICO 5, FICO 4, and FICO 2 used for mortgage lenders. And the reason why they use those older systems, because things like with FHA loans, which is a government program, it was passed through Congress. So they just don't change a lot just to make sure they're in compliance of using those types of programs. So those are the older models that they use. Now, there is a difference with FICO versus Vantage credit scores. And the difference is the score ranges is still about the same. It's 300 to 850. But one thing about FICO, a Vantage score, they kind of penalize you harder when it comes down to payments on mortgages. So it's a harder penalty in that range. So you can see your scores lower on a Vantage score for that. But FICO, they don't penalize as hard for just late payments, depending on some of those scoring models. So those are the difference. But most lenders that you're going to use, 90% is going to use FICO scores. So here is the meat and the potatoes of everything that you want to focus on. This is your credit score, okay? Your credit score is comprised of things to make up your credit report card, okay? This is your own personal report card. Give me 1 second. This is going to be your own personal report card. And I want you guys to kind of treat it and think about it as you would think about your school report card. You got English, you got math, and we know those two subjects held a lot of weight on whether or not your GPA is good or you're passing, period. You just can't fail math and English and expect to pass. Then you have other, maybe it held weight, but not as much as those two subjects, science. And then you had gym and maybe extracurricular that was graded in your score. And these two subjects didn't hold maybe as much weight, but it could help you increase your overall GPA. So when we're looking at our 5 factors of our, credit score, which is our personal report card, the heaviest factor, like English, is going to be payment history. It is the largest chunk. It is a great weight on our credit. And this is focused on how you paid your bills in the past. The second, like your math, is going to be utilization. And that's outstanding balances versus available credit. That is 30% of your credit score. And then length of credit history, or age of credit, as they call it. How long have your accounts been open? The length, that's like your science. It's 15%. So it has weight, but just as not as much weight as the other two. And then mix of credit, which is what kind of credit or trade lines have you handled? People use the word trade lines a lot. Trade lines is just, a trade line is any credit extended reporting on your credit report, installment loans, unsecured lines of credit or credit cards. and mortgage loans. So this mix of credit, they want to get data to see how do you handle various types of credit. So mix of credit is 10%. Then inquiries. This is, are you looking for new credit a lot? Because with them, if you're looking a lot for new credit, it means you're being denied or possibly you're desperate. You're in a desperate financial situation. So you're looking for funding. And unfortunately, banks, people think, oh, banks want to give me money when I need it. No, that is not. They want to give you money if you're a good investment. And if you're looking like you're in a financial distress situation, they don't want to lend to you. That's just what it is. So it's probably like you're probably not wanting to lend to someone, even in your family, if you know, like they're in a desperate situation, they're unemployed, I need money, for my groceries. You might do it out of the kindness of your heart, but you're not doing it with an expectation really too much that you got a good shot of getting your money back. You already understand this is a lot of risk from me lending out to that person. So a lot of people, I am surprised that they think, they tell the banks all of this, oh, I ain't got no job. They don't want to lend to you at that point. Now, if you're saying, hey, that relative said, listen, I got some money saved. I got a great business idea. I'm going to invest this money in the business. I just need some extra capital and I'm going to give you a return once this business actually take off. I'm starting it and I'm going to be generating some money and you're going to get a cut. You are more excited about lending that person some money. And this is the bank's idea. They're here for business. So if you can grasp those concepts, trust and believe. Don't think credit is for you. Credit is to judge you. And a lot of people think, oh, my credit is for me. No, it's the bank's report card to judge you as a risk. So if you understand and grasp this, you know how to make yourself look more attractive on paper to want them as that same example I use, not to look desperate, not to look like you're grasping for straws financially. And so let me include some of that new scoring model, FICO 10T. Oh, they're going to be looking and they want to get your bank savings balances too. They want to know how much money you got saved. They want to also know about a lot that they're looking in the background. How much is your accounts being overdrawn? Are you looking, especially a lot of fintechs, have you had a lot of overdraft fees? Because you're desperate. You're not financially good. Now you could be keeping all of this in order off the system, but now they're moving in to wanting to know all of this. They're actually moving into a phase that they're trying to understand what's your health looking like, what your health look like. Did this person got a lot of medical issues, even if they're financially stable, and they're trying to move towards that to get that information. Because if you looking sickly and you got some money, we don't care, because if you pass away, whoever inherited, we ain't going to be able to get our money back. So this is where the banks are looking to. Now, I'm not saying this is active, but the stuff about the FICO 10T, your balances and all of that, yeah, they're trying to get that information, a lot of them, because they want to make sure you're a good risk and you got good habits. So you keep this stuff in mind, because sometimes down the line when these changes come in, you remember I told you this, and you could start preparing for this. You want to start building a savings. They don't want to give you, like people think, I use my credit card for emergencies. That is not what your credit card is used for. When you don't have the money, you are supposed to pay those balances off. Mostly what they give you, those American Express and Chase, they want you to use the card so they can make money and you use rewards, not in an emergency when I ain't got the money in the bank. That you do not want to tell those folks that, okay? So understand what I'm giving you now. This lesson, when you go on applications, how to dress it up. You're not going to say, hey, I'm just desperate for money. I ain't got no money in the bank. I really need this. That is not what you want to put down on that paper. So any reasons why you're taking out this loan, you don't want to put that down on that paper. I am desperate. I have no money. I need this for an emergency. You don't want to do that. They're going to know. Thank you for letting me know that, so I won't lend to you. Denied. They don't want to do that. Even with your credit being good, what you're putting down on that application can get you denied. So I want you guys to keep that in mind also. Now, we're about to go into an exercise, you guys. So I want you to pay attention to this part here. Payment history is 35%. We discussed that. The largest factor on your credit score, which is your report card, right? And then it's utilization, which is, I said payment history, 35%, the largest factor. Utilization is 30%, the second largest factor, right? So these two factors make up 65% of your credit score. So if you can focus on these two areas, I don't care if you got a low credit score or a high credit score. If you mastered those two areas, like math and English, you'll get some grace if your score dropped in other areas, okay? You'll get some grace. I don't know if people have, I never did. I knew people that were highly intelligent in high school, and they were straight A students, and this will mostly be females. And when it came down to gym, they would not suit up for gym for anything in their life. They would not change. And you're like, why wouldn't you just change for gym for the grade? They just did not want to do it. And you know what? They could pass because gym didn't hold that much. Even though it dropped their grade down, it really didn't make no sense. But because they just didn't want to do it, the grace of them being good in the other areas, they were fine and they were able to pass, and they might have eked out with a B plus or a B average because they were so good in these other areas. So we also had those kids that we knew that could have been jocks. Every jock wasn't, not good at academics, but they will be the ones that sign up for, gym. They will be there all the time. Like gym was the thing, baby. They be hyped. Those boys that be talking about it in class. We want to do this in gym. And they were terrible at everything else. And those are the people you'll see staying back. They will be failing English, failing math, and they'll be, for that elective cooking, home ec, they there for it. And, for gym, they there for it, but they're failing. It's the same thing with your credit score. So focus on those two major factors and get those right. We can get you to where you need to be, especially when you're starting off. Now, age of credit is like that science. You don't want to tank that if possible once you get over a 700 credit score. So it's just like that kid that want to be Kuma Sulati or valedictorian. If you're trying to be a high achiever now, not the kid that, hey, I just want to graduate, with the cap and gown. That high achiever trying to get into Princeton and Yale, you got to get that science together. So if you're already over that 700 credit score, you want to start looking at and fine tuning these other things. All right. So if you're that person that's there, you want to look at age of credit, because that becomes a real important factor when you're a high achiever now. And then mix of credit become even more of an importance when you're over a 700 credit score. So you might want to start getting accounts that's different because, you're a high achiever. You're trying to get into Princeton. Everybody is not doing that. The kid that go to gym and home ec and fail everything else. If he can get into community college, he's happy, but that is not you. And I hope everybody want to be, the other kid that's going to Harvard and Yale, or at least an Ivy League school. This is where you want to be, Chase, American Express, to be able to get those high-end credit cards or the loans you desire and the homes that you desire, okay? You want to do better things in life. You would have to start looking at your mix of credit and want to consider getting mortgage loans, because then it starts to come about getting better things showing up on your profile. And the good thing about a mortgage, unlike a car, cars are kind of lower end, that's, if you're 40 and 50 years old and all you got on your credit history is credit cards and, a car loan, the banks don't have high trust in somebody like that. You want to start considering larger credit lines. You want to get in that. And there's a strategy to that we're about to discuss on how you're getting on for those higher end, larger credit lines, and you're getting mortgage accounts on there. You're actually stepping into home ownership, because people talk about LexisNexis and freezing those reports. But the reason why that report also is there, if you never got that, it talks about if you own real estate. It will show, even after 7 years, it'll show the real estate properties you own, you currently own, and what was the amount, and it'll break down how much that home is worth now, how much wealth is there. So if you bought a home for $169,000, and now that home in this economy is worth $400,000, guess who the bank want to lend to? You. Oh, what do you need, sir? Ma'am, sir, ma'am? What do you have? Because you know what they know? I give you this, I got something to get at. I might end up with a little piece of real estate I could sell off. They don't want to manage it, and I'll recoup on my money. You're a safer bet than that guy over there that got a car that's a depreciating item. This is where you're dressing up your credit report, looking more solid. If you're a person in the past, they're getting that stuff from LexisNexis. LexisNexis also stop a lot of fraud with these CPNs and all of that. That shows that a person is a real person. If you ever get that LexisNexis score, it'll tell you where you went to high school. It got your stuff way back. I had like 72 pages on my report, and it talked about property I owned in the past and this and this. So it's establishing who you are as a person and your mindset. Let me say it again, your mindset. And I want y'all to think about this, because this is just not my channel. I can get into deep things, the undercurrent. So now they're accessing, because like I said, they don't know you. They don't know what you're about. But right there, when they pull that, it tells the story about who you are, what you're thinking about, and what your life been about. So I want you guys not to just think about credit. This is where I said in my latest video, you got to think about wealth.
Hey, Mom, really quick, we have
Yes.
a hand raised. Would you like to
Sure.
answer the question right now? Okay, Vaughn, I'm going to allow you to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Sure.
Okay, hi Sherry. My question is, to determine the credit card utilization, let's say you have a credit card limit of $1,000. Do you just multiply 30% times $1,000? So your credit utilization would be, you need to keep that score at keep that limit at $300?
Yeah, or lower. And I thank you for your question. And optimally, you guys, you never want to go over 29% to be safe, but you want to optimally leave it really at 10%.
So whatever the
Okay,
limit is
right.
times 29% is what you should be, what you should
That
spend.
time 20, you don't want to go over like that $1,000, like you said, no more than that $300 car limit. That's 30%, but you 2,900. You don't really want to go over. I mean, not 2,900, $299. You don't really want to go over that 29% mark, and
Okay.
you're best to leave it below 10% of your credit
Okay.
line.
Yeah, I just wanted to know
Down
how
to
you would
1%.
factor in the 30%, how you were getting the 30%. So thank you.
You're welcome. So that's what your game is, you guys, especially when it comes to your utilization and your long-term strategy. Everyone, you want to get, like I said, start to build your profile in the background of getting assets, okay? Because this is where it's going to go beyond your credit score. Because like I told you guys, income and assets and lending does matter. So if you're a homeowner, they are more apt. I don't care if your credit score is a little bit lower. You think it's that's where your net, they start looking at your wealth. Okay, how much debt you have and what assets that you have. And it's about the bank having a strategy to recoup. So like I said, it's about risk for them. So you need to start knowing this on your report card. You need to know that about you. So you could, in the same category, going to Harvard, and we're using Princeton. Somebody could have really good grades, but the person that might be accepted to those Ivy League schools and stand out is the ones that did community service, the extra work, went to Africa, as a missionary. I dug wells, that add on more to that application. So does what you're using your credit for. So if you're going for wealth, homes, income, real estate, oh, that's that extra. That's that extra. That's that community service. Wow, this person has a different mindset. So as you building your profile, keep those things in mind. We all start somewhere, but I want y'all to have a plan on how to get better, because sometimes that score alone is what you don't know. Don't tell the whole story about what they're looking at. Okay, your debt, what kind of debts you have, and what kind of income, what kind of job you have. Are you fishing for credit? Another thing I want y'all guys to know, some people are so quick that, oh, they got my old job on my credit report. It's good to look like you're steady. And when they're making decisions, sometimes it don't look good you going from job to job. This is why if you're looking for a home loan, they're really not checking for you if you ain't got a year kind of employment, because then you just look risque. Even if you switch over to a job, they don't like breaks in employment. You want to look solid. You want to look like a good risk. So keep all of those things in mind, you guys, hopefully. And also with this note, you want to have at least 6 credit cards going. If you might not do this immediately, you guys, because age of credit, but you want to get 6 cards at minimum, 6 credit cards, so you don't have a thin credit profile. Like I said in some of my other stuff, remember the credit system is fueled off of credit cards, utilization, credit cards, because a revolving line of credit, unlike an installment account, don't close. This is why if you have a car account, even if you had a mortgage that you paid off, you'll notice your score will take a dip, because that stops the bank being able to make interest off of you. And people, what? I thought my score would go up. No, because it's not about you. You got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. They don't give a rat's patootie about, well, we should give you a bonus. No, that opportunity to make money off of you just went out the door. So, oh, you like credit cards? that's an unsecured line of credit where we always have chances to make money off of interest. The banks don't make any money, but interest and annual fees, majority, that is their business. So like I said, the credit report is to judge you for their risk, their greens and their ponds on how they can eat. Is really not really about you, okay? If you put these responsible things like real estate, I could get money. That is what they're thinking about. So a lot of people have the idea about this all wrong. They think it's all about them. Why would they help me? Because they don't care. They're trying to make money off of you. So if you can grasp that and fix up your credit score to be desirable, just like if y'all going on a date. Now, you didn't go out there raggedy and just throw on a bonnet and meet them at McDonald's or men. You put your best foot forward. You know, you wanted to see that, show them that person, you were quality. Do the same things with the banks. Date the banks, okay? Put on your best persona for the banks and walk it out a little bit. So keep that in mind. Also, I want us to do this exercise and I want everybody to come in. Jimena, are you here? If you're here, could you please raise your hand? Okay, yes. After this, Jimena, I'm gonna bring you in. Diamond, do you see Jimena in the comment section? Because after this exercise, I wanna bring her in.
I see her. I just lost it. Yep. Okay, I see her. Yep, she's right here.
Okay, just Jimena, hang on in there. I just want to go over this point and give everybody this exercise. So I want you guys to get ready and we're gonna apply what we learned, all right? Or learn thus far. Oh my, I'm ruining it. Hold on, I'm messing up. Give me a second. All right. Okay, y'all. We're gonna learn how to understand our credit issues. And y'all about to learn, I'm messing up again. Y'all about to learn how to understand other people's credit issues. So we're gonna, iron sharpens iron. That's what the Bible said. So our Proverbs said. So we're gonna sharpen iron. I want you guys to take a moment and look at this credit report. And I want you to tell me from what you learned in the chat, what we can fix here. And then I want you to also tell me, is this going to be a good credit score or not so good credit score by these factors? So look it over, all these factors, and I want y'all to tell me what we need to adjust. If this was your credit profile, this was your relative credit profile. We don't have a score, but we can determine what needs to be changed to improve their credit score. So I have one person, two persons. So let's look at this. Okay. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna move this to the side. So we got, hold on, let me see where it starts. All right, give me a second. Poor service. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Somebody had poor service. Awesome.
You want me to read them off, Mom?
Yeah, where are you at? Where are we starting at?
Okay.
Denise?
So we have Denise. No, Denise had a question about, do you have to have a balance on all 6 of the cards?
Oh, no, please don't have a balance on all 6 of the card. I'm going to address that right after this, Denise. Okay, yes, okay. Don't do that. All right.
Then we have Miss Williams, who says utilization.
Hi, Miss Williams. Thank you for coming in. You got it right. Utilization.
And then we have a lot of other people saying utilization is too high. And Terry says too many inquiries are on the credit report. Tammy says low length of credit.
Yes.
We have Vaughn, who says hard inquiry and utilizations. We have Ethel, who says credit card usage and inquiries. And then Allison says credit card use needs to be below 30%, which is really good. Yes.
Really good. Really good.
Yes. Okay.
Real quick, y'all. Now, which is the biggest negative that will really be tanking, because this credit score is taking a huge impact. What is the real factor that's currently bringing that credit score down?
Everyone is mostly saying the utilization.
Ding, 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 you guys got it. So we see that this utilization is really bringing this credit score down. Now, I don't have a number, but I can quite be sure if you guys, look at this, have something like this going on, you lost 100 points right here. Maybe, I'm gonna say maybe at tops 100 points. If this person bring their utilization down in 1 month, before the report date, if they pay this out before the report date, they could probably see a 60-point increase or better in their credit score. So do we all understand that? That's great. Also, somebody said age of credit. That is another good look, because age of credit, the longer the better, you know. So this person, age of credit, can be increased, and that will make their score go up. The third biggest factor that would be to do that. But since their credit score at this, with this utilization is 700 credit score, if you see payment history or this utilization, something going on really off like that, you know, just like that report card, like that boy in gym we just talked about, oh, you know, he ain't passing. You ain't have to see his report card to know, baby, you not graduating. We can see by your behavior, you gonna be with the grade, the kindergartners next year if you keep playing around here. You'll understand that if you continue to go on this way, you're not graduating with the rest of us. So looking at these factors, these two factors, starting payment history and utilization, which is 65% of your credit score, we pretty much know if a person is passing or failing, okay? Also, a total accounts, lower, it's a lower impact, but hard inquiries, they can make an adjustment in that you don't want to go over really 6, but they're not doing that bad, but they can make improvements in that. So great job, everyone. I'm glad that you guys caught that. I'm going to go through the next one really quickly, just to give you guys, just to see if we got it. Now let's look at this one. Everybody look and see what you would determine of this. Now, just drop in the comment section from what you guys are seeing. Do you think this person has a good credit score or a bad credit score? All over, just all around. Do you think this person is good? Terry said good. Lee said good. Good. I seen somebody said bad. Did we say somebody said bad? Everybody's saying is good. Yes. And you are correct that this person would have a pretty good credit score. They're probably over a 700 credit score. All right. Because these factors, they have low hard inquiries, 100% history, only 1% utilization, and no negative factors on their credit score. So if y'all can do this, you're really good. You got it. You can help cure your family members' problems, because I'm about to show you some things we're going to apply so you can cure these issues, right? And now we say the 5 accounts. Now, this is where you're going to use your judgment. Understand the thin credit profile come into play if your account is being looked at far as maybe an application. But this person overall credit score is definitely over a 700, okay? Because their age of credit is good. It could be better. So if I was working with this person, I would shoot for the age of credit, believe it or not, before the 5 accounts. Because what did I say? Age of credit is 15%. So you're going to just go by the hierarchy of what you already know or what to shoot for to increase a person's credit score. So let's go to the next one. Next exercise. This one here. All right, you guys, let me know what is about this person credit score. What do you think? Do they have good credit, bad credit, excellent credit, poor credit? Where would you put their credit score by looking at these factors? Excellent. Somebody said excellent. And that is all the right answer. This person probably have excellent credit right here. Excellent credit. Probably the only improvement that we could probably tell this person to make a little bit is they can pay this down to either 1% or 0, but they probably at that point might not see a huge factor, maybe even like they might only see like 2 points because, or possibly 5 points, because their score is really already really good. And like I said, you just apply that principle, understand the worse the credit score is, the more the changes that they make, you're going to see a much more improvement. With good credit, slow and steady is going to win the race. Like I said, we want to critique things. Probably what I would tell them. Now, notice this, you guys, they got 12 accounts and this is green. So they want to see how you manage these accounts. So they even got a pretty good mix of credit going on. And the only thing that we probably would really aim to improve if we could get the age of credit higher. So this is a person like you people that's in here with the really good credit score. If this is you and you got you kind of got your stuff together, you know, we're going to go for this factor. You can always improve on the age. Okay. He even had one little hard inquiry. All of this, you can always aim for the age, and then to make sure that, like I said, we're doing the right credit profile, bulking up the profile, making sure at this point, if your credit score is here, that you're getting better credit cards. You don't want a lot of subprime credit cards, you guys, because all of that will be taken into account too. They want to see certain credit lines, like you want to start really working on those things like getting larger credit lines. So I just want to give you a caveat because somebody asked about larger credit lines. The way that you're going to get those larger credit lines, a lot of times, what I tell people in strategy, if you have smaller credit lines, try to go and aim for things. And I have said, store accounts with credit cards. Now, you don't want to build a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. We don't want a bunch of that, but getting those kind of accounts and getting a larger line of credit, reporting on your credit report, like a care credit account, they're known to get larger lines. I know a lot of people don't like really Synchrony or Community, but you can work sometimes those lines to get higher lines of credit out of those lines. Then you would report that, and then you might go for to apply for a new American Express card. I like Navy Fed, a Navy Federal credit card, because they will issue, and you can get a larger line of credit because you have already had a larger line of credit reporting. Remember this fact. I'm going to give you certain truths. Credit and banks and credit issuers and the credit bureaus really don't care about what you got to say. They only kind of trust you as far as the last bank trusts you. That is how their system works. You know, that's what they got. Somebody said, my problem is that I haven't used my Community in a while and my score dropped from what the, yeah, the thing about Community and some of these other cards, even Capital One, you guys, you got to watch Capital One too, because they'll play with you. They'll play with you. You might have to put a little subscription on there to keep those cards active, okay? Or it depends on, you know, what kind, because Community and Synchrony do have cards that's co-branded. where it's just not a store card. It could be a Master and Visa credit card. So you want to try to go for those anyway. So you might start in the door like with a store card, but let's say even Victoria's Secrets, they have a scorecard, and I believe that either they have a MasterCard branded card. So you want to go with those MasterCard branded cards, because those cards you could use elsewhere. You might throw some gas on there or whatever, just to keep the credit lines active. But honestly and truthfully, this goes for all of your credit cards. You do have to use them. I'm going to say at least once or twice in every 6 months, because they're, as this person credit report, as they're going up on higher on the food chain, up the ladder, sometimes you're not incentivized to use those little, other credit cards when you were starting off with those high interests, like high interest rates, you just be like, whatever. But keep in mind too, closing, some of those starter cards you guys have will affect this score right here, this age of credit. So you're gonna have to make a decision. A lot of people will, like I said, not getting a ton of that on there just to start building. But a lot of these offers in the mail that you're gonna get is gonna be dictated on the kind of cards you have. So if you got a ton of subprime cards, your offers in the mail will be subprime. So you want to kind of try to progress out of those tiers, and you want to build actively. Okay, so hopefully that was good, you guys. Good exercise. What's subprime? Subprime credit cards are cards or companies that cater to generally what they would call like a 620 and below credit score. That is sub what is prime of a prime credit card. Okay, I'm gonna say I say 620, and it might, like with a mortgage, it depends. Sometimes they will even say like anything under a 670, what's good credit would be below the prime credit score, but 620 definitely is a subprime credit score and below. So hopefully.
Really quick, we have another question.
Okay.
Ethel, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I need to bring Jemina in though, so we can, because she might answer some questions. Can we just hold that question and bring Jemina in?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, all right, because she's gonna come in and she might answer some questions that you guys already have.
Hi, Sherry. Well, thank you so much for having me on here.
Thank you, John. You share the link with her so she can come in and show her screen?
I think I can share my screen.
You should be able to share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I can. So there we go. So basically, I work for smartcredit.com, and a lot of what Sherry has been talking about today, you can actually do very easily right through our platform. And so I'm logged into a test account. That's what you guys see on my screen right now. And I want to show you, for example,
can you hold on one second? Jemina,
yeah.
Can everybody see her screen? I can't right now. Diamond, do I have to stop sharing?
Oh.
Yeah, Mom, you have to stop sharing so that she can share.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Give me 1 second. Hold on, give me 1 second, Jemina. So I'm not. Diamond, where would I stop sharing? I see share new, but I see it. There we go. I got it. Can y'all see? Okay, there it goes. There we go.
Okay. See, it tells me that you guys can see it. Okay, awesome. So as you can see, like I mentioned, I'm logged into a test account right now. And basically, what you see at the very top is going to be your credit building type of services that we offer. So this one here, the score boost, you can raise your score pretty quickly, basically by using your credit cards. Now, the credit utilization you said was 30%, correct? Sure, yeah. So with the 30%, right, you can actually look at your credit cards down here, and it will tell you when to pay your cards and by how much, depending on what balances you owe. And it'll tell you how many points your score will go up if you do that. So a lot of times your payment date or your statement date or your due dates, that's not necessarily when the credit card companies are going to report it to the bureaus. So what we've done is we figured out what date that is, and we have you pay your cards 4 days before that date so that we can make sure that the payment actually goes through. And you can see here that you can move the dial. So this test account owes $15,000 in credit card debt. If you can't pay off, all of what you owe next month, you just basically move the dial to whatever budget you have, and it saves your plan. So if this is what I have to work with, it'll tell me where to put that money in which accounts and when to pay it by, so that I can increase my score the fastest.
And this will come in, you guys, what she's showing you with the score boost to help your utilization. This tool is really, really awesome, because like she's showing you, it actually shows you where to put your money to have the greater effect. And someone just put in the comment, should we have balances on all of our credit cards? And as this is showing you, you should not. And it will show you where's the best bang for your buck to bring your score up. So I'll digress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then one last thing I'll show you guys, if you're gonna, go on a spending spree, for example, it'll tell you what card to put it on, so that it gives you the most amount of time to pay it back. You just gotta make sure you pay it back by when it says. Otherwise, it's gonna affect your score in a negative way, and it shows you by how many points, depending on how much you spend. So if there's no questions on that, I'll move on to the next thing I would like to show you guys, because now this other part is going to take care of that 35%, where it talks about like late payments and things like that. If you do have negatives in your account, you can use our score builder tool, and it'll walk you through a bit of a tutorial when you first click on it. I'll go through the tutorial kind of quickly. You guys can actually do this yourself if you do decide to try the system. With Sherry's link, Diamond, I don't know if you have the link, or I can put it in the chat. You get a 7-day $1 trial. So if you guys want to try it out, it's only $1, not a lot, of expense there. It'll show you we'll review your current score, and then it'll show you first the accounts that are helping your score. So you can see that these are the ones that are adding value to your score, making you look good. But then also here's the ones that are hurting your score. Now, unfortunately, most places where you can check your credit, they'll show you this, then you still have to do everything yourself. With us, what you can do is you can take an action. And what that means is we're going to send either a letter or a fax to your creditor and help you with whatever issue this is. So for example, the first creditor we have is Citibank. We have a 90-day late. And let's say that was identity theft. I would just click on ID theft, and we would send that letter to Citibank. If you want to negotiate paying off this debt, you can do that here. Or let's say this is a credit reporting error. I would click on fix error. And then I would have any of these things here, like I was not 90 days late, or remove disputed by consumer notion of this account. We have a lot of different issues here that you can put down. As long as it's the truth, use that. If you don't see your situation in there, you can just delete that and type it in. And then when you hit next, that's when you hit confirm mail delivery. That's when we're going to go ahead and send either that fax or letter, again, depending on the institution, will depend on what we send. And let me also show you guys the goodwill correction. Now, the goodwill correction, if it's your first time offense, it's your first time requesting this, you have a higher likelihood of this actually being approved. So I would click on that, and then I would look through the different reasons that we give on here and see if any of these work for your particular situation, and then go through the process. Do we have any questions on that?
I had a good question that I just saw that came in. Someone asked, what accessing this system caused a hard inquiry to their credit report? And you can answer that question, Jamina.
Yeah, so basically, you cannot raise any hard inquiries through this. So the inquiries are going to stay there, but you can view them down here.
No, she's saying using the system, would it cause a hard inquiry?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I thought
like
you
no,
said
no, it
remove
would
it.
be no hard. Like
Okay,
access.
no, that's actually a really good question. So
Yeah.
no, you can use the system and you can check your credit on here. Basically, every day, if you wanted to, what you would do is you would click right up here, you would refresh your score, and then you hit a full update. And then we actually show you different types of scores. This one that's being pulled right here, this is coming from TransUnion. It is the Vantage 3.0 score that Sherry was talking about earlier. And then we also have auto insurance and hiring risk index. If you have questions as to how these work or how they're calculated, how they're used, you would just click on more details, and then you would, read this little description here. But no, this is what they call a soft pool. And with soft pools, you can check your credit as much as you want, and it will not affect anything on your credit file at all.
Now that
Also,
is
one thing I will note, included in the account, you can see all 3 bureaus. So you would view that down here. And I might be having really slow internet, so you might have to bear with me for a second. Can you guys still see? Okay, there we go. So here you could see all 3 bureaus. And what we've done is we show you which ones have credit reporting errors and which ones don't. So for example, you can see here that 2 don't match. So you would click to see what's going on. So there's a discrepancy in the amount. Experian and Equifax look correct. But this one, TransUnion, is different. And then also we have another view here. If you didn't like to look at it that way, we have our older view. This is the classic view where you can see all of them side by side. But this report here, actually, you can update it once a month, and that is included in your account. Whereas if you just want to check your TransUnion score and you want to do that every day, you would do what I just showed you. But if you want to monitor your 3 bureaus all at once, you would do that once a month. And you really don't really need to do that any more than once a month. If you did, you could purchase it, but I would just suggest doing that once a month because it's included in the account at no cost. Do we have any questions on that?
A couple people had a question. So Vaughn asked if this will appear as a credit counseling or restoration company on your credit report.
No, it would not.
Okay, and our second question is, how accurate is your system?
It's incredibly accurate. So for example, this is a question I get a lot on the Score Boost feature. I would say that we are about 99% accurate there. The only thing that we don't have is unless you've connected all of your accounts in the Money Manager, which is kind of like a mini mint.com type of thing. We can't see like your latest balance. What we see is your statement balance of what was last reported, unless you've connected that.
We have another question. So you showed the discrepancies. What can we do inside of your system if we detect a discrepancy?
So you would go to the score builder here, and depending on what it is, if we can work with that issue here, you would do that here. If we don't have the issue there, then that's something that you would handle outside of the system. So remember, we have goodwill corrections, fixed credit reporting errors. So you would use the fixed credit reporting error on like that particular one I just showed you, or anything like that. But if you don't see the issue within the platform through the score builder, then that's not something that we would handle for you, which is also why, we're a credit monitoring service that also has these features available to help you build your score, but we're not a credit repair company or a credit repair service per se.
I wanted to add,
Do we have?
I'm sorry, I wanted to add to that. So whatever you can't do within the system, we do. We're not a credit repair company, but we do have our DIY credit repair bundle that gives you all the instructions and everything that you need as far as the letters to do your dispute. So that's what, you know, my mom is here for, to give you those instructions and give you the letters and everything like that so that you can handle your disputes as well.
Yes, and I will also add to that. We, like I mentioned, we communicate directly with your creditors. We do not send any letters to the bureaus. So there are things that you will have to handle outside of the system, especially if it's something that has to be handled with the bureaus and something that is not in the score builder that I just showed you. I do want to touch on a point that I think is really important, and then I'll answer any more questions that come up. When you build your score, right? Let's say you're starting at a 620 or 650 or whatever it is. Let's say you follow this plan and now you do get to the 800 or the 780, wherever you're able to get to. It's very important to protect that great new score that you just worked so hard on, because now that you have a great score, now you're more of a target for people that want to steal your identity and open up accounts in your name and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, thankfully, if you have a service like Smart Credit, you are going to be notified of these things because you've got 24/7 credit monitoring. But what's also more prevalent is people stealing your credit cards and using that. So we help you protect with that as well. So we have two ways that we protect you. Number one, we're going to cover you with $1 million of identity fraud insurance. Here's everything it covers. You guys can read through that. It's also on our website. And if you have a claim, you would just call this number here and we would help you with that. The other thing, though, it's also very important, is to manage your accounts and manage the charges that are happening on your accounts. So what we can do here is you can also put in all your checking, savings, credit cards, loans, and not only get a really great picture of your finances, but if you connect your credit cards, for example, you could set up alerts, and then you can be alerted via email and phone of any new charges on your account. So I would go to my alert settings. And here I would I like to keep it at 0. You can, I used to do 100, but I stopped doing that because thieves will now try to make a charge under $100. It'll be like $30 or $20. And if they get away with that, then they go to larger amounts on your accounts. And so I want to be notified of everything going through. That way, if I see the small amount that is not mine, I can immediately call the credit card company and take care of it, because I've noticed that this has happened to me at least twice in the past year. And neither time my credit card company notified me of the charges. I had to find out through the emails that I was getting from Smart Credit. Well, do we have any
great? I'm sorry, Jimena. I just want to see, did anybody have any questions? You guys?
Ethel has a question. Ethel, would you like to unmute?
Yes. Jimena kind of really said something about it. But I want to ask, because I heard, we're supposed to use the credit cards and we're supposed to have utilization on them. So I heard before that you should actually pay like before the statement date in order for my my score not to decrease. Is that right? Or how does that work?
Well,
Jimena, okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I'll definitely address that one. So the statement date or the due date, that's not necessarily when it's going to report. So you'll probably have heard that, because you definitely want to pay your credit cards on time. So as long as you're paying it on time, you're good. But if you want to go a more advanced way to pay your credit cards, you want to pay it right before they're going to report to the bureaus, because that's going to give you the biggest bang for your points, basically. And so that's the data that we've gone ahead and mined. And so there's 2 ways to go about it. You could either find out what those dates are on your own, or you could use a service like this, and then you could just make sure that you're always paying whenever that date is. And if that date changes, at least you know that you're using a service that's going to be updating that no matter what. And then the cool thing is you could see, depending on what you pay, how much you pay, how many points your score is going to go up. So if you need to get a loan or something like that, and they say, hey, you got to bring up your score by at least 20 points, you could go in here and see, okay, I need 20 points. That means I got to pay this much on these accounts by these dates. Does that make sense, Ethel?
It does make sense. So, so is it the statement date or the due date that we're needing to pay by?
To be safe,
So-
to answer your question, if you can pay it by the statement date, you're going to, before by the due date at least, you're going to pay it before it report. But what this system, and maybe I know in my experience in the past, so let's say people have you got a fixed payment date, like you get paid every 2 weeks, and so your card date, a lot of times those dates, depending on a short month like February and all, those dates will cycle on you. So you sometimes can't have a fixed date, but if you want to be safe, pay by your due date. That's what, and you'll know that that's the date that you should beat the report date. So it doesn't show up on that balance on your credit card. That balance on your credit report. Did that answer your question?
Kind of. I think I understand what you're saying. I mean, you're answering me, but the due date itself, from what I understand, is that you're not getting interest if I pay by that date, and if I pay like the minimum due. But should I be paying all of the balance off on the card, or should I keep like a certain amount on there that it still reports like I'm using the card?
If you pay the card off and you're trying to increase your credit score before you're going to apply for credit, you can pay it off. You want to pay the card off. You want to use the card and pay the card every month off in a perfect world. That's what you want to do, because you're using the card, but you do want to pay it off.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, for your credit score, if that's what we're talking about, like, I wouldn't
Right.
suggest if you're going to apply. So this is a learning experience. If you guys are going to apply for a home loan or credit or for another credit card, it is always best to pay that off before you apply, because too much even utilization can get you denied, or if they see too much utilization. And I did just make a video also to get in that habit of kind of paying your interest off or close to being down with this new FICO system, FICO 10T. The T is for trending data. So they don't want to see you carrying a lot of balances or a steady balance. They want to see your data trending in a downward a direction, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, does that make sense for everybody? Hopefully. So you just want to get in that habit and don't carry no more than 1%.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Someone else had a question. Maybe while Jimena is on, she might have some answers also. Or was that the question?
Robert has his hand raised.
Huh?
Robert has his hand raised.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Sherry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. If I could kind of help Ethel, because it was kind of confusing to me also, Ethel. My credit card, the closing date is when it actually reports to the credit bureaus. So my closing date for my card is the 22nd of the month, but then my bill isn't actually due until the 5th of the month. So what I do is, to make sure I had the lowest balance reporting, I paid all down before the closing date. So that way when they report it, they're reporting the low balance that I just paid off. And so it kind of takes care of both with just that one payment, because I'm paying it still before the due date, but then I'm also paying it before they actually report it to the bureau, if that makes sense. So the closing date will be on your statement, and also your due date will be on the statement. So most of the time it's gonna be 2 different dates. So you just have to look at it.
Thank you so much for your input and your answer. But usually too, guys, if you're paying it by the due date is before the report date. I never seen a credit card where they're paying, your due date is before the report date. If somebody had that experience, you know, I never had that experience, or maybe the credit card company, but generally your due date on that date, the report date is going to come a couple of days after that due date. If that's you know, I haven't seen that in my experience. Did anybody?
It can also get a little confusing too, though, Sherry, when because you can change your due dates. I know I've changed my due dates before on my accounts, just because I know when I'm gonna get money. And I was thinking, oh, or I want to pay it later. Before I started working here, so quick little story. I used to pay my cards usually on my due dates, but I had changed a lot of my dates because you're able to do that with a lot of cards. And so my score for the longest time would stay like at a 740. And I was always paying my cards off, or like the statement balance, by the time that I would be good. And I couldn't get past a 740. I started actually using the pay by dates that we have in our system. And I'm usually teetering between a 780 and a 790 now, depending on, how much money I've got, how much my balances are. So then there's also that.
Well, thank you, Jimena. That might clear up something. And someone said, as a former lender, that is correct. Yes, most credit card companies will allow you to change your due date. Well, thank you, Dorothy, for your input. Thank you so much, Jimena. Thank you also, the gentleman that came in to answer the question, and thank you, Ethel. So do we have any other questions? Because if everybody is, if you have any questions, especially about the smart credit system, feel free to come in. If not, we're going to continue on. Okay. Everybody seems to have that clear. And I'm going to go back to share the screen. And if you're interested in the smart credit, you guys, the link is here in the comment section. So Jimena just put it in for everyone, and we're going to continue on for everybody. So hopefully, is everybody in and you can see my screen now that I'm sharing? If you guys can come in the chat and let me know.
We can see you.
Okay, thank you. Y'all can see the screen. Okay, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Now, okay, we're gonna go on to the next part. Okay, oh, this is one last exercise. I am sorry, y'all. And we will end this portion out. Do you guys want to give your input on this credit profile? What do you see? And can you pick up something here that wasn't there in the other factors, you guys, whether this person have good credit, or what do you see about this score here? I want to see your input on this, because I see something that stands out. And if this is somebody profile, what would, okay, Terry just answered the age of credit. Now the 5% is pretty good on the utilization, but the age of credit being so young and only 2 accounts, this looks like somebody who is building their credit. That somebody I would, or if I was a bank, I want y'all to play the bank. If you're seeing this kind of profile, you're going to look at this age of credit and probably these 2 accounts and I will assume this is a younger person new to credit. And that's what Terry said, a younger person. So what would pop in your mind if this person wanted to lend to you? You you wanted to lend to this person. I wouldn't view this person having a lot of experience with credit. So if this kind of profile is coming to me looking to borrow 50,000, you might consider twice. And also, I'm quite sure you guys probably, you wouldn't know if this person knew how to manage credit. So I want you to start, since we went through this exercise, I want you guys to look at this, and now you have an understanding on how you're being judged, okay? So we don't know who any of these people are. We don't know them personally, but if you were the bank, you would consider some of these things. If these people were coming to you personally as a loan, now you'll understand whether or not would you determine would you issue out your money to them. So you now have an understanding on how you need to see yourself and your own credit report, okay? And build your credit profile. So that should be the last one. Now, one of the ways that we were seeing that last one, age of credit, to improve your age of credit is to start to report your rent, okay? So paying on-time payments, continual payments for somebody just like that last example, which a lot of us said, oh, this looked like a young person who just started off in credit. It would be good for that person not only to report their past rents, but their ongoing rents to help them build their credit so they won't have a thin credit profile when they're trying to establish credit. But we also saw that even people with a more mature age of credit can also use adding on to their age of credit and length of credit. And so if you're a person that with a credit score above 700 and you wanted to add length and age of credit, adding your past rents will help you. It also will help for some of y'all that had in that payment history, which is 35% a troubled payment history, by adding on more past on-time payments, that would help you also in that category and help you improve in your age of credit. So using rent reporters like this, like Boom, this will help you guys in all of those categories. So even if you have a credit score that is higher, lower, it will help you in two categories: payment history. Even if you have good payment history, you can add on more positive payment history, and it will help you with your age of credit, showing that you have more positive accounts. This will go with somebody with new payment history who's building the past payments, and they might consider going with continual on-time payments along with it. But sometimes it depends on how you're building. If you're a person, especially thinking about purchasing a home, a lot of lenders do want to see that you have on-time rent payments to make you look better, to consider for that you will be able to handle mortgage payments. So this is a good option because they report to all three major credit bureaus. You can see an increase in your credit score. On average, they're saying of 28 points in 2 weeks. And this is like the lowest subscription for a rent reporter account. It is a sign-up cost of $10, a subscription of $2 a month for your ongoing payments. And if you want to report your past rent for all the way up to 2 years, 24 months, it is $25. So this can fix those areas for people. Now, in order to sign up with Boom, you would have to download their app, but you also have to be able to, you had your payments paid out of your checking account. But there is another option. And we're gonna either, Diamond, did you already send out that mailer that we have with all the lists?
No, I'll be sending it out now.
Okay, she's gonna send you out a list of resources that we have. If you're a person that haven't been paying out of your checking account, there is another option called Credit Rent Boost, and you can call them up and they will verify for you. So if you have a young person who's living in your home and they didn't make on-time payments like this, of coming out of their checking account in that kind of way, if you have your child, they can call up there and you can validate that your relative or whatever is renting a room, and that can add on to their payment history. Okay, so you can use that option. And for all those that just have a landlord that they're paying their rent to, and you might have paid via money order or other avenues like that, that can be your second option, Credit Rent Boost. But they do only report to 2 major credit bureaus. I believe it's TransUnion and Experian, if I'm not mistaken, or Experian and Equifax. Boom this one will report to all 3. So it will help your credit scores across the board. And so, do we have any questions about that? Okay. So that can be a good option, as like you saw that for young people, the length of credit history, or if anybody that that had that profile just like that, or yourself, if you need to add on age of credit, if you're a person above a 700 credit score, that can add on your age of credit and help you with your on-time payments. If you're a person who has a lot of missed payment history and you don't have 100%, this can help you in that 35% category, okay? So that is the option. The second option that will be good for you guys is authorized user accounts. So if you're a person that is a 700 credit score and plus, you can benefit for this. A person with new credit can benefit from this option. A lot of people can benefit for this option of being an authorized user. Now, an authorized user account is what we call piggybacking. And what it allows you to do as an authorized user is adopt that person who is responsible, who's been a responsible card holder, and for you to take on their past positive payment history on that account, far as a credit card account. The other benefit of this account, it will help you with your utilization if this person is managing their utilization properly under the 30% or at 29%. So by adding on this account, an authorized user, especially for people that's already over that 700 credit score mark, this is a great choice for you because it will help you in age of credit and all of that good stuff. So you could increase your age of credit, especially if this is an older account. New people, it will add on good payment history and also help you with age of credit and utilization. Now, the important part, this will help you. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I hope this is not popping up. 1 second. Give me 1 second, you guys. Oh, now how did that go? All right. All right. Now, what it will do is help you, like I said, with your payment history. Give me a second. My computer is moving slow. Okay. This will help you with your late payment history, help you with your utilization, age of credit, and this can also help you with a thin credit profile. So it can add another account to your profile without you going out and getting a hard inquiry to do so. So that's another thing. You're adding on credit without a hard inquiry. And this could help with your mix of credit history. So other fact with this, adding on, like I said, this account, you don't get a hard inquiry, so you don't have to worry about your score decreasing by 3 to 5 points, especially if you're a person that's over a 700 credit score. Now, the negatives of using this option, if the account holder do miss a missed payment, that will show up on the authorized user account. On that account, the primary card holder, which is the person who account it is, if they start carrying a higher utilization, that will affect your utilization, possibly if you don't have any other accounts or it starts to be really high utilization, it can bring your score down. And if the reporting on the credit card account, the authorized user will need, if negative credit card reporting come on the card account, the authorized user would need to be removed from the account. But sometimes the account history will remain on their credit report. So sometimes that's a mixed kind of bag. So if that person start having really high utilization, missing payments, it can affect you. But if you know the person that you are doing this with and you know their history, it's apparent, honestly and truthfully, I'm an authorized user on my father's credit card because he got long, strong credit history. He got tons of credit history. So and Diamond, you are too, I had him to add us as an authorized user because he's in his 70s and he had long payment history and also large credit card accounts. So this can be helpful for people who even are over a 700 credit score. But some people advocate sometimes that they can go and purchase authorized user packages. Now, I want you guys to have a clear understanding. Authorized users can increase your credit score. I saw someone who put in that saying they wanted a car, trying to get a car loan. An authorized user account will help that, where it will increase your credit score. You can see that within a 30-month period, or if they take your information, you can see that as a little as 2 weeks, depending on if that company go ahead and report your information on that account. If you're looking for a new apartment, if you're looking to improve your credit score for employment reasons, authorized users are great for those types of goals if you're going for it. Now, what it will not work for is if you're trying to buy a home. If you're trying to buy a home, that account must be connected to your spouse. So you have to be a spouse of yours. So you can ride an authorized user of your spouse for a home, and that can increase your credit score. But there's not a lot of times if it's a parent, many companies, mortgage companies will want you to come off, or lenders, okay? Sometimes there could be a problem with getting that line to report if you're not in the household, or some of the information doesn't line up, if you live somewhere else and you're using somebody's authorized user information, or that person, mess up your social security number with adding that on. And sometimes these accounts are closed without notice. So you might not know the situation with somebody's account, like people talked about, that account might be inactive, and that close out, that'll affect your credit score too. So the other thing, like I said, some people will buy these accounts, these packages. I don't advocate for that. Some people will say, well, I'm just trying to get this or that, and then I'm going to come off. Understand, when they take you off, you will see your score decrease. I have also seen situations with credit repair companies. I was working with a young lady, and on purpose, they had her on an authorized user account, and it was a $5,000 credit card. They had that utilization to 4,800, and she could not figure out for the life of her why her card wasn't going up. And we got on the phone and called together, because see, she didn't understand. They were doing that for a whole year on purpose. And when I called and confronted the gentleman, and what was the point? Oh, for the credit history. Why would you purposely tank a person's credit score? So you have to watch out, because there's a lot of games when you're buying this. And she bought that for $700. So I just want you guys to be educated, to know if you're going to do this, make sure you do it with a relative, because technically it's illegal for them to sell you a credit line. They're not a bank. So if you're a person that's doing this with a company, banks will shut you down, and you could lose a lot of good credit history. And people say, oh, you can make money doing this. Oh, you can also lose your account. You can also decrease your, or it could jack up your credit profile and lose a relationship, because you're not, banking regulations. Banks are regulated by the federal government and local government. So a lot of these companies are not insured and in compliance with local and federal rules. So you coming into that, you can lose big time doing that. So if you're going to use an authorized user account, you guys make sure it's somebody you know, and you're not paying through the nose for that. I want to discuss too, the quickest way that you guys, we're going to send you this list. If you have your credit score under a 700 credit score, is to find unsecured lines of credit. Okay. So we're going to send you a list, and I want you, for those that are under a 700 credit score, you're going to use this avenue to increase your credit by 50 points. And we're going to give you a list and the tier of your credit. Now, all those that have that 700 and better credit score, you're going to use the avenues I just presented for you. Authorized user accounts to help your age of credit. Also, you're going to use the strategy of adding rent reporters to your history, and you're going to use this technique to help you. Just like we discussed, there are times where you can stagger your card payments. Anytime you guys that got that 700 in credit score or better, even those who credit score are under that, I want you, for your new card, if you get a new card down the line, or if you're changing your payment dates, you want to stagger your credit cards. You want to, when you start in that account, you get to a lot of times choose, when you're starting that account. So make sure you stagger your cards when you're getting your credit cards, because then you can hide your utilization. Okay. If you have one card that is at the 28th of the month that you're starting that card or starting that new relationship, one at the beginning of the month, if you get in a tight and you have to, I have did this, put a big chunk of my paycheck down, because I knew I was going to apply for credit coming up in the next month, and then use that other card. just to pay that down, let that report so my utilization look lower to get an increase in my credit score. Then use that other card that I had some room on to go ahead for my living. Now, this is not a lifetime. You're just doing this if you're going for funding. And then when your paycheck come up, because you might get paid every 2 weeks, 1 week, every week, you start paying aggressively on that next card. So you can pay that down and you can balance out your utilization. Even if you don't pay that card totally off, you'll know how you can adjust that to bring down your utilization, because I need to go and get a car. I need to go and get a place. In the process of this home loan, so I'm working on some things. And what Jimena just presented with Smart Credit, they can tell you how to pay down and where to put the money at so you can bring your credit score up. Even if you can't hold the fort forever, at least you starting to think, I know how the credit system work now. I can just show that, because anytime you apply for a car loan, whatever, a lot of that will stay there for 30 days. There are sometimes, if you're working with credit unions, they will let you even use one hard pull, let's say for a credit card, also for a car loan, if you do all of that in 30 days. So you can learn how to use that strategy to stagger so you can hide some of your utilization. So those are some of the approaches that you would want to use and set up your lifestyle like that, so you don't really get in a bind. Now you understand how the credit system is working. Also, when you're going for credit cards, because there come a point, even a person with a good credit score is not just all about, I'm going to increase my credit score. If you're already 700 and above, sometimes you want a quality of life. You want certain reward cards. You might be going on vacation, or you might want to get what they have, an initial offer that is going to apply to you, and this card is useful for your lifestyle. And you might want to get a credit card, whether it temporarily dip your score or not, depending on where your age of credit is. You have to gauge it, because if you're a person with, like my father, a long age of credit, what does it really matter if I'm getting this card and it's going to better my life, it got better rewards, that I lose 3 points to 5 points, and it will go back up in the next 3 months. It's just, as long as I'm not doing a ton of that, everything is good. Sometimes you want to, depending on where your age of credit is, to get 2 cards at the same time and then go into gardening. So you can always kind of control your age of credit. Like, if I'm going to take this hit, let me take it now, instead of every 6 months messing with my age of credit when I'm over a 700 credit score and better. But when you're going for these cards on either end, good credit or I'm working on my credit, you need to know your credit profile, your issues, and know the rules of that bank's underwriting. Just like with Chase, they have a 524 rule. You should have 5 new accounts in a 2-year or 24-year period. If you know you're a person that went and you already got in 2 years, 6 new credit card accounts, you should not be applying for Chase. I don't care how good your credit score is. You just gonna get denied. So you don't even go there and waste a hard inquiry. Even if they pre-approve you, you just got to know that rule. I'm just not going to bother or take the chance. Discover is 1 card in the first year. So if you already just applied for Discover, don't go for another Discover card if it haven't been a year. There's a max of 2 cards that they're saying right now that they will give you. So don't go there for a third time to apply for that card, because it doesn't matter how good your credit score is, they're not going to give you that credit card. So you already know American Express, if you got a 580 credit score, you probably should not be going to American Express applying for a credit card. So they deal with more prime credit, not a co-branded card like Credit One Bank with a American Express logo. They're just using the processing system. That is not American Express themselves approving you for that credit card. So you want to know those rules. Also, most banks and lenders only use one credit bureau for approvals. So if you can do your research and know which credit score is your strongest credit score, maybe you want to go for the banks that use, for example, if Experian is your highest credit score, that they pull from Experian. Now, you wouldn't do that with Capital One, because Capital One pull from all three credit bureaus. So they might not be maybe your goal to go for if you have a bankruptcy on your credit report and you've been working at it and it's still reporting on Equifax. You got it clear from TransUnion and Experian. So you don't want to go to Capital One. You might want to find another bank, let's say Discover. They pull from Experian, and that would be your best bet. So same thing if you have a collection just reporting on one bureau, you want to go with the bureaus that has the cleanest credit score and the highest credit score, and find lenders that use that. Okay. And that is that slide. Give me 1 second. Opting into these websites, Factor Trust, opt-in pre-screen. This will help banks access your credit profile, and banks need business. They make money off of credit. They have credit cards for subprime, tier, top tier, fair credit. So don't get it twisted. They need you more than you need them on many a times, or they wouldn't be in business. So they're looking for somebody. One bank is looking for whatever your credit profile is right now. And so by registering to these websites, you'll start getting pre-approvals in the mail. And then you can do some of your research if you already know what your credit, like I said, score is, what's reporting on your credit score, and you'll know, do I have a better chance, even this is saying I'm pre-approved, that I'm going to get this according to their underwriting rules. Okay. And if you ever have questions about their rules, sometimes you can just call them up and ask them, the customer service, and they'll tell you certain rules that they have. Now, these companies will help match your credit profile to their available bank products. So like I said, even Capital One have a top tier credit card, Venture, and their other cards, and then they have subprime credit cards. So there's a bank looking for you, whatever is in your credit profile. Now, let me see this here. Give me 1 second. Okay, also, I couldn't see the title. I'm sorry, you guys. It says, look for credit card companies with soft pull pre-approvals. A soft pull pre-approval is basically you're going to a site and to see if you fit in that profile of what that bank is looking for. And many a times they'll tell you a yes or a no without creating a hard inquiry for that soft pull, for them to look at factors on via a soft pull for your credit score. Now, if you decide to pull the trigger, it will result majority of times of a hard inquiry on your credit profile, but at least you're not aimlessly just applying for credit that you don't qualify and they're not looking for you. So it gives you better odds to get approved. Now, with that hard inquiry, on average, if your credit score is a 50-point credit score, I mean, you're going to get an increase of 50 points if you're under a 700 credit score, the 3-point deduction for a hard inquiry, you still at 47 points. So it still benefits you in order to take this approach of doing that. So you want to go for unsecured lines of credit. If you're trying to get your credit score up, if you're under a 700 credit score, because utilization, we covered it, is the second largest chunk of your credit report card. So think about that. Utilization is always the fastest way to increase your credit score. So that will be the fastest way to increase your credit score. Even if you're a person that's over a 700 credit score, utilization is the fastest way, but you will work it to paying down your open credit cards in order to increase your utilization or add on authorized user accounts to add more credit. Now, credit gardening, this is a process where once you get a credit card, you need some time before you get another credit card. You might wait a year or so, because one thing, you can get denied for having too much new credit. It can make you look like that you're in a financial restraint situation. So you want to let these credit lines grow, and it help you with your age of credit. Also, removing fraud alerts. If you have a fraud alert on your credit profile, sometimes it can get you denied for credit. Or sometimes they will just pause it. You'll have to call in, but sometimes you could get denied at some, and you don't know, because a lot of these systems are online automated systems. So they may trigger automatically to deny you. So you can remove those off of your credit profile. You can contact the credit bureaus. Also, freezes such as SageStream, LexisNexis can cause banks not to verify you. I have had one time with SageStream, I had my SageStream frozen that it told me I didn't get approved for a card, or they didn't even give me a hard inquiry. They was just saying they couldn't access my credit profile. But mostly I've been able to get credit cards with both my SageStream and LexisNexis frozen. I haven't had a major issue, just one time, and my stuff been frozen for years. So, but opt-out pre-screen and some of those websites is probably what's sending you those offers anyway. So you don't necessarily need that SageStream open, but some, like I said, some companies will use them. So I haven't had a major problem. You want to control your debt. High utilization will get you denied for credit. Too much debt and not enough income will also get you denied for credit. So you want to keep that in mind. Maxing out your credit cards will surely get you denied for credit. And as we already discussed, you want to keep your utilization from 1 to 10%. Recent late collections and charge-offs will get you denied for credit. Recent late payments, depending on the underwriting of that company, like maybe an American Express, it all depends, because some of their underwriting do change too, depending on what's going on in the market. It can also get you denied for credit if you have a late payment within the last 12 months. So most of the times, 6 months, you should wait before you apply. If you had a late payment, recent collections can get you denied. So new charge-offs can get you denied. And as I mentioned, call the company and ask them what their credit card approval standards is. If you had any of these events to happen to you within the last month or 2 or 3 months, especially 6 months, I wouldn't try it until, with late payments for sure, until that's eased off. So also, we discussed controlling your hard inquiries, because it makes you look risky, like you're going through a financial hardship and you're looking desperate for credit. Also calling the customer, calling the reconsideration line. If you guys are denied for credit, understand these credit card approvals is an algorithm, and it could be something like that fraud alert that got you denied for credit. So call up and see if they can reconsider you. Sometimes when you have a human to really look at your situation, it could have just been a trigger that had the system to automatically deny you. So see if you can, at that point, call in if you got denied and see if they can reconsider. Also, even if you get a credit card and they give you a $5,000 credit limit, call in the reconsideration line and see if you can get a larger limit. All they can tell you is no. So they might even reconsider that to give you a larger limit credit card. So I just want to jump in. I see we got questions. I'm just going to go through this so we can, I know we went a little long to close this out for you guys because I know you have things to do. But removing negative items off of your credit report, Jimena touched on some of that. And this is just knowing how the banking system works. I'm going to skip over this because you understand that banks lend out money and they're actually creating this where they have a fractional reserve lending. But 3 ways that banks kind of secure themselves from bad debt, and understanding that banks and also the credit bureaus are in bed together. Trust and believe, they're incentivized to keep you with bad credit because people with bad credit, they get to justify charging you higher interest rates. So, and they don't have to give you as much. You already know if you have subprime credit, they're giving you a smaller credit card, charging you $29.99 interest on a little bit of lending. And so it's a much better deal for the banks because banks make money off of interest. And when you're subprime, they know they don't have a lot of competition for your business, because the people with high credit scores, there's a lot of banks competing for their business. So you have a lot of banks that really enjoy they specialize just in subprime credit because it's a less risk and they can charge you a higher interest rate. So another way they manage debt, they just write off bad debt. They'll write it off of their taxes, and they get a tax credit. They don't really even suffer a loss. And then their other option is to write that off and sell it to a collection company. So they'll not only recoup off their loss, they'll make money in the process because they already got a tax credit. Then they sell the debt to a collection company with pennies on the dollars and portfolios with other people that had debts, and they make more money. So this is the way where banks have set up where they don't lose. Now, understanding different types of negative items and the effects to you. If you're a person with really good credit, this is going to probably really pertain to you. If you have a collection, you can lose all the way up to 110 points. Probably with a person with a lower credit score, maybe at the fair credit range, might lose 25. And somebody with a lower credit score, 580 and below, maybe only lose 10 to 15 points. But the higher you go up the system, the more it's going to cost you in points. Charge-offs, 110 points. Hard inquiries can cause up to 15 points off of someone with a real high credit score in the 800s. Repossessions can cost you 110 points. Now that could be even if you like in the lower 700s, even if somebody with a mid fair credit score, a repossession can hit you for 50 or 60 points. Bankruptcies for people really with good credit, all the way up to 240 points. Foreclosure, 160 points, and judgments like that shows up from your just for your what they have, the public records, can cost you 160 points. Now, this would ease as time go on. Like I said, the first 90 days, it really dings your credit report. But as time go on and these things sit, it will ease up and you can cause your credit score to go up and then dispute those issues. Now, a charge off is generally when a original creditor cannot collect off of that account. And when they're not able to collect, they just give up, usually in a 3 to 6 months period, or like 180 days. They're just going to either write that debt off and then sell the account to a collection company. Now, if you have this situation going on, you want to first find out who owns the debt, because do the collection company still have the debt, or did they sell the debt to a third party? Do the original creditor, I'm sorry, still have the debt, or did they sell the debt to a third party collection company? Once you know who owns the debt, then you're going to know your approach to get this off of your credit report or how to handle the situation. Next, you want to find out the statutes of limitations, because you don't want to get on the phone talking too much about making a deal, or you want to definitely watch what you say. If it's already past your state statute of limitations where they can sue you, you have more power in the situation. And you don't want to start making a deal without setting it up right and watching your words, because these conversations are being recorded, okay? So you don't want to bind an agreement. You want to do it carefully if it's over the statute of limitations, because you don't want to reinitiate that statute of limitations if they can no longer sue you. So you're going to know what's your approach. Now, if it's over the statute of limitations of the federal, which is 7 years, they just got to remove that. So either you will write them, or you would go ahead and dispute it off of your credit report because it's past the statute of limitations on a federal level. Now, with charge-offs connected to car and auto repossession, you want to write them and ask them for the notice of deficiency, meaning that they took that car, they sent it to auction, and they sold that car, and there was a balance. So they need to submit proof that that car was sold. You're seeing a lot of things now in the system that with the pandemic, where it used to be where they were taking a huge loss on these repossessions because it wasn't cars being manufactured, and used cars had went up a lot in value. Some of these people are not taking, or these companies are not taking losses like that. They were able to recoup on that repossession. Okay, so you want to demand your the notice of deficiency, also all the notices that by law in your state, they're supposed to notify you, give you an opportunity to get that car back when they take it with the amount. Also, they're supposed to let you know before it's being sold. They're supposed to send all of this certified mail to notify you, and the auction date where you could be there. So you want to demand all of that and the notice of deficiency for the proof of the balance that you owe. And also you want to look at your contract that you originally signed to make sure, because they'll slap in all these fees to make sure that it's correct. Now, when you go through that process and look at all of that, make sure if you want to settle, like I said, they record the conversation. Now, the quickest way always to get these things off your credit report is if you can settle the debt, then if you have an opportunity, do it. But keep these other things in mind, the statute of limitation. And sometimes with credit card companies, you guys, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm just trying not to pay them. But if you have had a relationship with a Navy Federal or a American Express or a Chase, sometimes you don't want to burn those bridges, because where are you to go? You know, you want to start going into these realms that's not subprime. So you might have to build these relationships back and try to work with these companies if you want to do business with them again. A lot of them, if you will pay them, especially like Navy Fed, they will do business with you again. So that can be something you need to take into consideration. You want to call them and see if you can settle the account, and rule of thumb, if it's within 2 years old, maybe starting off offering about 70 to 75% of the debt. If it's over that 2-year mark, that amount automatically you're starting at coming from half of that debt, 50% of that debt, especially if it's over like the statute of limitation, where they can't pursue that debt anyway, or collection companies. I would even drop that down below even 50%. So you want to never on the phone, except just say, I might be wrong. I have to do my research, because to my understanding, this was paid. I will say that to my understanding, I paid this. But say if I just want this to go away, can we do? Can you send me an email on what you would offer as a settlement, or send me a letter? Do not accept, because the phone call is recorded, and don't tell them you're going to pay anything. Pretty much, where you guarantee, well, I'll send you a payment, or I'll pay you now, this in writing. You want to get the deal in writing. Okay. Don't let them record you and saying that I'm going to pay now, and you didn't get anything tangible. And you want them to report it as best as paid as agreed. Okay, that is the highest form, paid as agreed. So that's what you want to do. If they are not willing to settle, then you can dispute directly with the credit bureaus, but I would dispute with them only in writing via postal certified mail. That's going to be your approach. Now, the next thing, if this is now that charge off is a collection, collection companies will buy the debt from the original creditor. There are times where they've been hired, in some cases by the original creditor, to collect on this debt. So this is why you want to see who really owns the debt. Now, a key to this to know if it's been sold, you look at your credit report on that charge off. If it's still there, it should say 0 balance. And then in the notes, it will say sold. That will give you an indication on your credit report whether it's been sold, okay? Now, if you have a charge off and a collection with that same account, both having balances, that is double dipping, and that's a violation. You want to dispute that with the credit bureaus immediately. They can't both be reporting balances, a charge off of $2,000, and then they had a collection of $2,000, because that's showing $4,000 worth of debt that you didn't pay, and that is not true. You know, it's really only in essence $2,000, and then we work from there. So the steps to get off a collection off of your credit report, like I said, you want to find out who really owns the debt. You want to look at the statute of limitations. Is it past that where they can collect? Because that give you more power. Then if it's with a collection company, you always want to do full debt validation, meaning they have to show that they really own that debt. And you want them to supply you with the original contract with your signature, between you and the original creditor, with your signature. And don't let them skip pages. No, we need the full contract, because some of them will send you like the last page, but we need everything in between. If they don't do that, then they're not proving they have a legal right to collect on the debt. You're not telling me what's said in between those lines in the contract. Where did it give? I had to give permission to sell that debt. Because if I started a business relationship with someone and we have an agreement, they have no right without my prior permission to make me do business with someone else unless I surrendered that rights to them. This is why you shouldn't really pay or agree to pay collection companies, because now you're agreeing to do business with someone you never got any goods or service from, not even a Uber ride. So they have to prove their legal standing and their legal right to collect on a debt. As I use this example, I can't come to your house holding your car note booklet, little payment coupon, and say, hey, look, pay me that $500 car note every month now, moving forward. Well, who are you? Why would I pay you my car note? I never even got a car for you. And you would be right. I would have to show I have a legal right to collect on that debt. So don't make any agreements with them. I don't even say to really try to pay them, only in the case now of medical debts. Medical debts under $500, they should not be reporting to your credit report anymore. So moving forward now, the law is if you pay a medical debt, they can no longer report that on your credit report. So medical debts have changed for you. And if you have anything over that $500 with medical debts, they cannot report it in that first year against you. And if you have a medical debt that's reporting that's beyond that, make sure you check with your insurance company to see that they didn't pay them already, because they are notorious to do that. And wait 30 days after you send them that debt validation letter. And if they don't fully, verify that debt, that they owe you the debt to show you proof, then what you're gonna do after those 30 days, you're gonna dispute that with the credit bureaus. Now, the reason why I tell you to wait 30 days to dispute that collection, because when you request that debt validation, they have a responsibility to report to the credit bureaus that that account is in dispute. Many times they don't do that. So you wait the 30 days, and if they didn't update that account, then you hit them for that violation. They have to do that under the FCRA. So that is a violation. If you're looking at that collection and they're reporting late payments, there's no collection that's supposed to have a monthly payment history on it. That is a violation. So if they don't reply back and within that 30 days, that is a violation. So you dispute that with the credit bureaus, and you always dispute that in writing. Also, just be aware, the credit bureaus are not a federal agency. They just use that in their title to make them sound like they are. They basically want to gather your information, and they make billions, my bad. They make just about billions selling your data. That is all they're there for. They just sell that data. And lower credit scores, they make more money. Because like I said, the banks make their money primarily off of interest, and they get paid by banks to even more for low score credit profiles. That is gold for them, because that's how the banks is going to make their money, off of annual fees and mostly interest. So they can justify charging you a lot of interest. So they love subprime credit. And this is why they make it so hard to remove this negative stuff off of your credit profile. That's how they're getting the bulk of their money. They're getting paid. Remember, they're never incentivized to work with you. That's why they're making it so hard to remove this stuff, because in essence, you are not their customer. You are their product. The banks are their customers. Landlords are their customers. They don't give a darn about you. They love you as much as the farmer loved the chicken. You are just their product that they put on their table to serve up to somebody else. So understand when a lot of people say, well, why, they won't work with you. They don't want to. They're making billions not to. Now, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA, is the government law created in the 1970s. And with that, they have to abide by this law. All their reporting has to be 100% accurate, 100% verifiable, 100% timely, and don't let them get you twisted. Because something is true doesn't mean that they have to report it. A lot of times, even a lot of the original creditors are like, oh, well, we got to report it. They're lying. They don't want to really give up your name like that a lot of time with those accounts, because they have a subscription program that in order for them to report and have you over the barrel to the credit bureaus, they have to give them 1,000 names or maybe $5,000 names a month. Because like I said, they want data. They want data. That's what they make their money for. And for them to have them to collect and to give them power, they work together along with the credit, the collection companies. Those are really their clients. So I want to open up the door for some questions, because I went over, and I want to answer some questions for you guys to see what we can get. Diamond, would you like to, are you still in here?
Yep, I'm right here. I wanted to allow Robert to unmute himself because he's been waiting to ask a question for a while. So if your question hasn't already been answered, please unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, I just had a quick question on the Chase 524 rule. Do they include like store cards that you can only use in a specific store, or is it just credit cards like American Express?
No, store cards. Yeah, new credit accounts, all accounts.
Okay, so store cards too.
Yeah, store cards. Yeah, because that's a credit. Like I said, now even with store cards, you'll notice they'll have a Visa and MasterCard logo. Those are credit accounts. So those two.
I mean, just the ones that you just only use in the store. Like say if you get a Victoria's Secret.
Those two. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so even if it doesn't have the logo on it, if it's just a regular store card, then okay.
Yeah, if it's reporting to your credit report as an unsecured line, yes. So if you do have like store credit, I just want to be clear. If you do have like, if it's not reporting to the credit bureaus, then they don't know about it. That's different. But the ones reporting to your credit, yeah, if those store accounts, if they're reporting to the bureaus, yes, that's included in that. Thank you for your question.
Okay, Ethel, would you like to unmute yourself?
Yes, I do want to say that you have given some great information. So thank you so much, Sherry. So you're welcome. You mentioned like the notice of deficiency and proof of sale for repossession on like a auto. So do I need to like get that from, is that what I ask of the actual company that, well, it's for my son that he signed with?
What you're gonna do, just like I said, find out who owns the debt.
Okay.
So if it's still with the original creditor, you demand that from them. But if they even sold it to a collection company, they got to give you that information too. And a lot of times with charge-offs, they're just buying portfolios from that company, and they're just buying really pieces of paper. They don't have the whole account. And depending on how old that is, that stuff is very hard for them to get, all of that, because a lot of these companies don't even keep those records for that long period of time. So yes, you want to ask both parties. Don't let a collection company play with you like they don't have it. That's their problem, not mine. You know, I'm demanding it. So yes, but just find out who own it and demand it from them. If the charge off is there, but the collection company own it, yeah, demand it from the collection company.
So this would be in an attempt to like kind of settle it, or what am I trying to do when I'm doing it?
Prove that they don't have a right to collect on it, and then you can dispute it, because they got to show you this proof. Because understand, if let's say they're saying your son
Mhm.
owe a balance of $3,000
Mhm.
and they sold the car and made their money back, then he don't owe a balance.
So if
And
they,
so what you're reporting on my credit report is a lie. And so that is not true. So it has to be, as here, 100% accurate, 100% verifiable. That's neither. So you got to stop reporting.
okay, so if I understand, so if it's with the collection agency, I find out who it's with, and if it's with the collection agency, I'm asking for that proof of sale. So if they've sold it, then technically they can't charge him.
No
the
matter
balance.
who it, let's just cut to, no matter who it's with, you want all of that information,
Okay.
even with the original creditor.
Okay.
You just want to know where you're sending that letter to. Because even the original creditor, if it's not correct, 100% correct and verifiable, because they play those games too, they sold that card, they made their money back, or even if they didn't, it's a much bigger difference from $3,000 and I really owe you $200. That's a lie. So they can't be reporting that I have a charge off of $3,000 that I owe. That is a lie. So whoever is doing it, you want to get to the bottom of it. And you want to use it as a means to dispute that, to catch them up in a lie.
Okay. And even
Because the long and the short is this, let me include this. Say in that example, they're reporting $3,000 that he owed. I only owe $200 now by when I got this. So you deframing my you lied on me.
Mhm.
So remember, credit worthiness, credit is connected to your character, who you are as a person. So your son might have went to get an apartment or a credit card and he was denied. I got a denial letter, you caused me harm, or I got a car now and I got a higher interest rate because of this lie. Maybe they would have lent to me if it was only $200, then you lying saying it's $3,000. I have the evidence here that you lied on me. And so this does not constitute legal advice, but this education purposes only. You get that evidence, you can sue them in small claims court. You can name the president, chairman, all of them make business decisions, VP and customer service reps, because you lied on me. That's a lie. That's defamation of my character.
Got it.
So you want to get that evidence. That's a lawsuit. You lied and you caused me harm.
Okay.
Whether it's true or not, you lied on me. You see what I'm saying? That was a lie. And you caused me financial harm by lying to me. So they have to, even by, like, a lot of people say, oh, you got to take it to federal. No, defamation is even in small claims court, baby. I'll get you over here really quick, fast, in a hurry. And I'm going to name your company. Let's just throw out there Santander, the president, and all of them. Y'all, I'm suing, I'm naming all of y'all in this lawsuit. And I bet you filed that lawsuit, you got that lie, and you call their legal department, folks are going to come to the table and remove it off if that's part of your negotiation. I did that plenty of times with collection companies. I was eating off of that, to be honest with you. I wish a person would. I wish they would. I'll say now who I did that to. What's their name? My God, what's their name? It's a big one. Y'all know it's a collection company that's really annoying. Not Portfolio, but they tried me too. But not Portfolio Services. It's another one. Oh my God, and I hate them so bad. Oh God, they're out of South Carolina, North Carolina. Resurgent, yeah, them people, yeah, Resurgent. So yeah, you can do that, but you want to make it effective. You got your proof. You want to name board members. Just find out if somebody numbers ain't right. If somebody interest accounting ain't right, because I might have paid and y'all ain't. This better be 100%, or that's defamation. You're lying on me. You slap the extra charge of $100. This is off. That's defamation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, now just going forward, just for the sake of time, can we limit questions to one question each person? Okay, now
Okay.
I'm going to definitely butcher your name, but Zenobia, can you unmute yourself? And
Hi,
correct
yes,
me?
good evening. That you actually said my name correctly. It's Zenobia. So good evening. Thank you.
Good evening.
I'm gonna try to make this quick. Recently, I just identified on my credit report, all 3 credit reports, there is a credit reporting agency who recently reported something negatively on my account. However, what I would say probably the original creditor has never is not reporting, nor is even showing anywhere on my credit report. The credit reporting agency does not list who they are collecting a debt for, doesn't say it's on behalf of anything. I just happen to know probably what it is that they're trying to collect for, who it is, but there's no.
Is it a medical collection? Because
No,
Equifax do that all the time.
It is Equifax actually who's reporting it, but no, it's
Yeah, they
not
do
medical.
that a
It's
lot.
actually, so it's AT&T. So here where I'm at is our, a local utility company or phone
Okay.
company. So my question was, since it's not being recorded or has ever, it's nothing around the original collector, the original owner of the debt has not reported, nor nothing even reflective of this debt. For the collection agency, am I sending them a debt verification letter, or am I disputing
How long
that
ago
debt?
was this debt?
Oh, this is,
No. How long ago was the original that you forfeited on that?
well, this is, I would say probably maybe about 5 months ago at best. And that's only
Okay.
because I've been disputing a balance. They were trying to charge for services I actually didn't render. So I refused to continue paying them if they weren't
Oh, well,
providing
you
service.
say no more. This is what you're gonna do. Collection company, debt validation, like we
Okay.
just went over.
Mhm.
Just like I said to Ethel, they're reporting that against you. And you got your credit report.
Mhm.
If it's a lie, small claims court.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm. So do not
Yeah,
do
you
anything.
just want to get the evidence.
Okay.
Small claims court. I'll give them the 30 days. Go with the steps of disputing with the credit bureaus.
Mhm.
They don't remove that. I have in my package a second letter and all of that. If y'all have that, follow that.
Come on,
Follow
what the
that.
hell is it? Shush, Liberty.
I'm sorry. Somebody follow that format. You want to do the full debt validation, do a debt validation letter. And then from there, if they don't answer, whether they do answer, because they're just going to send you a copy of the front of the bill. No, like if it's AT&T or something, they ain't going to send you nothing with your signature or nothing. And if it's already reporting off, they're already lying on you. You know what I'm saying? It's already the balance. They got to approve that count history and all of that, the payment history too. So if y'all use my letters, I already got all that information in there that you're demanding that information. They're not going to give you that because they don't have it majority of the time. And then you just send out a letter at the same time after that 30 days, disputing that item with the credit bureaus. In your case, if the balance is off, I'll move to small claims court lawsuit. And if it's for me, if the balance is $500 that they saying I owe, then I'm suing y'all for $7. I'm suing y'all for $1,000. Making it so light, naming naming the staff like president, vice president, because understand if you get that judgment and they really don't have it accurate, it's defamation, that's going to hit their credit too. So you're leveraging, you're using leverage on them at a local level to get it off quickly. And then part of the negotiation, I just tell them, call, because they all have a law department. I found my lawsuit, call the law department after 2 weeks. Do y'all want to come and negotiate this? They might have an attorney call you. They might try to say something, yada, yada, yada. Hey, we don't know what the judge is going to say, but I know this is a lie on me. So do y'all want to settle? Well, what's the terms? Just pay my filing fee and remove this negative item for all credit reporting agencies within 30 days. That's it. Especially with collection. That's what I'll do.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now Barb is gonna be the last question we'll have. So if anybody wants to ask questions in the chat, you guys will probably have similar things. So I've seen a lot of late payment questions. I'll bring that back up.
Oh, yeah, let's bring up the late payment questions, please.
Late payment questions are pretty much on the basis of what can I do to remove late payments? And secondly,
Okay.
Once I do have late payments, how long will this affect me?
Now, with what Jimena just showed you, goodwill letters, if it's something recent, okay? Can somebody give me an example too on, oh, you know what? I'll just say it. So with late payments, if it's one recent late payment, you will first want to call. Don't just speak to the customer service rep. They don't have the power to remove that. They're going to probably tell you no, so then talk to their supervisors, get their names and their information in their position. Ask them, can they remove it? If they don't remove it, you can send a goodwill letter saying that there was a negative reporting. I wouldn't even admit to it. I'll just say it was some recent negative payment history. I'm asking if you can remove it. If that doesn't apply, then what you want to do is look at all 3 credit reports, because always, you guys, if y'all can attack the source of the reporting, they can remove it way faster than disputing. So if that doesn't remove it, what you're going to do is look at the reporting on all 3 credit reports on that late payment. And you want to see what's inconsistent. You'll see Equifax, sometimes Experian, they'll have a different date and they might even have a different amount. Now, if you have like payments with student loan payments, I guarantee you look at your reporting, it's going to say on time, 90 days late. They're going to always, late payments with student loans, look at your thing, it's going to say, or on time, 60 days late. So how is this correct? This is not accurate. I can't have the 3 prior months on time and on August, July, and June on time, and then August 90 days late. That's a lie. So what you would do is challenge that for an error in reporting. That is not true, because I couldn't possibly have 3 months on time and then 90 days late. So you want to find the inaccurate reporting. Now, if it's say you have a number of late payments, if the account overall, you don't want to throw the baby away with the bathwater. So if, let's say you have an account with a nice age of credit and it got 1 late payment and it's beyond 2 years, it's really not affecting you for getting approved for, even with like American Express. Most of those companies most good companies, after a year, 2 years for the top companies is not going to take that into consideration. So it might be an annoyance in your mind, but if you have a number of late payments because you went through a hard time, but the rest is good, you want to look at, if it's over 2 years old, am I going to really fret over this? And if you're going to challenge it, challenge the oldest late payment first. The oldest late payment, and challenge that. Now, if you got a number of just a bad account with it's majority late payment. You want to challenge that whole account and get rid of it. Okay, you want to find inaccurate information and get rid of it. And I'm saying an example, if you have an account and it's 10 payments and you only got 2 on time, just burn it, just get rid of it and try to challenge it. All right, so hopefully that's helpful.
Okay, now Jim, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hey, thank you, Diamond. Hey, good evening, Sherry and team.
Good
I had
evening.
a question in
Mhm.
regards to when you talked about going to court, small claim court. And let's just say again, going back to, I think you said if the debt was, for example, 500, you would go ahead and make the claim for 700. Is that
Yes.
700 your total cost for your filing fees and time, or how do you come to that number? For
The
$700?
conclusion of coming with that strategy that I have used for myself personally, this is not legal advice, just
Sure, yeah,
for educational
Yep.
purposes only. The reason why any corporation will have to use an attorney because they're a corporation. You're making it a number beyond what you owe them because they bought this debt pennies on the dollar.
right.
So they didn't even get that. They didn't even purchase this for 500. I'm suing you for 700. So it's not even worth your attorney to fight this, to show up in court, to show up on Zoom, or for you to take the liability of your staff. And we're talking about leadership, credit score getting hit. Because if you win, which you got a good case, it is defamation of you're lying on me. I have the proof that they will actually lose.
Mhm.
So it is better for them to settle. It's just not worth it. They didn't pay enough. So you're using that strategy for them not to just, it's better for them to make it go away. These are businesses. They don't care about you personally like that. Most people just don't fight. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
I had somebody from that company, that's a resurgent. I did that. And do you know, the president was like, why you do this to me? You
What?
sleep well by doing this to people. What are you talking about? Why I do this to you? He was offended, okay? Was like, why you do this to me? And I broke it down. He's, well, what you a paralegal or something? No, I'm just somebody that understands contracts. And you lying. And so they just dismissed it and paid me my money. $200 or whatever, $300. Just don't get greedy, y'all. Don't get greedy.
Right.
Don't get, because the point is to clean up your credit and get it off. Sometimes too, the credit bureaus get a little funky on you because they did do that to me. They're gonna send you a letter to dismiss that case overnight. Don't be surprised if they try to hold out to the last minute. They'll send you a letter to dismiss that case. Some of them will do it early. And you tell them in 30 days, remove it from all CRAs, not experienced trend. All of them, LexisNexis, any other ones I don't know about, remove it from all credit reporting agencies. They'll put that in writing. And then if the bureaus don't remove it, you got evidence that it should be removed because they be funny. I had one time they tried to be funny and I had to send them that letter to remove that off my credit report. But yeah, that's your strategy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Lee, you want to unmute yourself?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Hey, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for this class. This is very important, and I've gained a wealth of knowledge just by attending. So thank you again.
Thank you for joining me.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. My question is back to the dispute, the 30 days. Do the 30 days you count the business days, or is that calendar days?
Calendar days, just the calendar days.
Okay, and I know she said one question, but I just want to know, will we be able to have access to you guys, this team, once this is over?
Yeah, you can submit your questions to my website, or not my website, our email, and then I'll answer your questions.
Okay, thanks. Great. Good
You're
night.
welcome. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I see somebody with a good question. Will we get approved for a credit card? The list you are providing with credit? Yes, we have options. So Ava, and there's other credit line options on that list that you would get approved for. So you could use the option of Ava, and it's not based off of your credit score. So we have other Barbara things on our list. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, Summer, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Sherry, thank you. I've been following you since last year, and I just wanted to say thank you. I had like 30 collections on my account that I got removed just by looking at your videos.
Wow, that's thank you so much for your testimonial. I appreciate that, Summer.
But there is this one account. I did the 30 days. They weren't able to verify, the account, and it was removed, but TransUnion keep putting it back on my account.
Now, who are they reporting it for?
It's an old payday loan from like 2017, and they will not remove it.
And it's with a collection company, or are they reporting that the original creditor?
It's a collection company. It's a third-party collection company.
You heard what I told those people?
Yeah, to go to small claims court.
First, yeah, because a lot of times what they're doing is batch reporting. So sometimes now what you can do is write the credit bureaus. If you don't want to do that, since they took it off from you, they have to, before they reinsert an item that have been removed, because somebody else had this question, or it was in the chat, an item that is removed, before they reinsert the bureaus, they're supposed to notify you that they're putting that item back on. So write them and said, this item, you never contacted me about reinserting this item. This is a violation of the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, and this needs to be removed.
Okay.
Now, if that doesn't solve it, you might have to go the route what I said with that's what I told them, and that'll kill it, because a lot of them, they do remove it, but it's a batch. Like they don't have a person automatically, this Summer account, I'm gonna get her. No, it's an automated system that they have, like every 90 days, that'll upload these accounts to Metro too, okay? And that's their communication, because for anybody, this is just some geek thing. For them to even with me as a landlord, you have to have a requirement of 100 doors. So 100 names, it's a subscription, and you have to be linked up with Metro 2 to report this information to them. That's the communication between them and the credit bureaus. So, but the credit bureaus by law are supposed to validate this information to be true, to talk to a person when you dispute, and then ask for the method of verification. They don't. They're using this automated system. So that's what's going on with your account being put back on.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, Miss Denise, you can unmute yourself.
And we're going to just close it out, you guys, with 2 more questions. Diamond, if you could sort through, if y'all have more questions, just send it to our email.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let Denise, Teresa, Victoria, and Barb finish, and then everybody else I'll give it a little outro.
Okay.
Denise, you here? Okay, Denise, if you are able to get your audio going, come back to us. We're gonna go on to the next person.
Or just tell her to put her question in the chat.
Or put your question in the chat, we'll get to it. Okay, Teresa?
Hi, it's Tressa.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tressa.
Oh, no worries, hon. Thank you guys for taking my question. I know it's late, but I'm gonna be very quick. I had a authorized user. My father put me on his card, but unfortunately it's only showing up on one credit bureau. How do I get it to show up on all 3?
Have your father to call them and tell them that it's not, because they might not. Now, who is the company?
It's Barclay.
Oh yeah, they should be reporting to all three, because sometimes y'all, Wells Fargo don't. I forgot who they don't report to. I think it's, see, the Equifax, but if you have a Wells Fargo, they don't report to one of the bureaus. But have your father to call, all right, and tell them to report the account to find out, because it's on the Barclays end.
Yes, even if we don't live in the same household.
Just have your father to call in, and then what he can do is just tell him their address is your address, because that's your father, so it's not a big deal.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Victoria, you can ask your question. Okay, Barb.
Is she gone? Yeah, people might be. I know this is.
Okay, they might be exiting out.
Yeah, it's over the time frame. And
Okay.
1 second.
I will mute it. I have a quick question.
Okay.
Hello.
So, yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, you did mention, thank you so much for, your good work. You are wonderful. I've been listening to you for like a year now.
Thank you.
Yes. So my question is, you mentioned that you were going to give us a list to apply for credit cards. And of course, we all know that when you apply for a credit card, you get a hard pull, which I know you did mention to find credit companies that do soft pulls. But you know what I realized? Some of them will say soft pull, but then it still shows up on your credit report. And and so I was trying to find out that if your credit score is like in the 500s, will they still approve it based on the list that you're providing?
Yeah, I answered that question. I seen somebody put that in the chat. And like I said,
did.
we have a list, like I said, Ava, it doesn't require a credit pull at all. So we already have a list and a step on how to do it. So you can get a credit line for 2,400 and it doesn't pull your credit.
And Ava, I have Ava, but I don't even understand how it works.
Well, you put a subscription on Ava and they'll report a line of credit for you of 2,400. So like Netflix accounts is only like subscriptions, and it'll report that line of credit. Once it report that $2,400 line of credit, you should see your score go up. Okay. On average of 50 points. Then I have things on the list, right? So the list that I'm giving you guys, it has a credit score window of what you should go for. So in your instance, let's say your score go over a 580 credit score, right? I want you then for everybody to try the shopping cart trick first, because you can get that with no hard inquiry. For the first, always try, you guys, with the shopping cart trick, the rule of thumb, go for Victoria's Secrets, because it shows up a lot. All right. And they have a store card and they also have a MasterCard version. So you, with the shopping cart trick, if you do that, I left the link, follow that tutorial. And if you get that pop-up, you can get that credit card with a soft pull with no hard inquiry. And then you should see your score go up again on average of that 50 points. And then you can go on to the next tier credit card or those that's in there, and you'll progress all the way up to a 700 credit score while you're working on your negative items.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Really quick, I don't know what happened with Victoria, but I'm gonna just let Victoria go and then the last question. And then
Sure.
Hello. 20 years ago, I had student loans that I consolidated and then I paid off.
Okay.
However, recently on my credit report, as I'm building my credit from bankruptcy and through a divorce and stuff, I was in the lower 700s, and then all of a sudden the student loan came up that they haven't been able to find me, nor have I made a payment, which of course I didn't know that it hadn't been consolidated with my other loans. So what
I got you. I had seen that situation happen to someone else because it was so with you, your score went up to 700, and then this collection from your student loan came out of the blue, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
everybody, this is a learning moment, right? Okay, you heard her story. As your score go up, beware. That's what Jimena mentioned. They'll come out. Well, no, she was talking about fraud too. But as your score increase, the credit bureau send out trigger lists to creditors with your name on it, so they can come in and hit you with these old collections. And what happened probably in your situation, like another lady I work with, she got debt consolidation for her student loans, but sometimes it'd be a loan, because you can have a couple individual little small student loans for this and that didn't get wrapped into it. So do you believe that is correct? Is that right, or is it not right?
Well, the amount is actually double of what I believe it was.
Do you believe it was wrapped up in that? Because sometimes collection companies buy that. The only tricky thing with student loans, because of the federal government, they secured that they can collect on these loans, and you can't even get that off with bankruptcy. So is it private or is it federal?
Federal, I think. It was a Perkins loan.
So it's federal. So that one's secure. Do you have your old paperwork? Because they can get it messed up that it wasn't really wrapped up in that consolidation. Because I never had that issue, but I had student loans, and you can have a bunch of small student loans, and you're thinking it's a one debt of $10,000, let's just say for instance, but it's a combination of a couple of student loans, one for 1,000, one for, I don't know why they do that, 500 here. So are you sure it wasn't wrapped up in that debt consolidation?
The only problem is I had a fire and lost everything. So I don't have the paperwork. I don't even know where to go. I mean, I did contact the federal government, and they said they had no record of it. So I don't understand what's going on. What I wanted to do was see if I could put a letter of explanation on in my credit report. No.
How long ago was your bankruptcy?
I'm sorry.
How long ago was
it was 2005.
Jeez, okay. Because I'm about to say, if it was recent, like 2 years ago, talk to your attorney to see if that can be wrapped up in it or be challenged. But if I was you, I would write them demanding proof on that it wasn't paid off. Okay. I would write them directly, and I would dispute that at the same time. I would just dispute it with the credit bureaus. Do it have late payments attached to it?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. When I called the federal government, they said that I have to prove that it was mine, and that I have to go to the college where I went to school and
how do you have to prove it's yours and they're reporting it against you?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Oh, that's okay. Do it have late payments?
Well, that was 30 years ago.
No, I'm saying right now with the reporting, is it reporting late, or is it on time, or is it in default?
They're saying that no payments have been made and the person has not been found, not been able to.
I'll dispute it. Just say it ain't yours. Just dispute it. It is not yours. Now I'll dispute it. Yeah, dispute it off, because that's too crazy. They don't have any proof. Let them produce the proof that is yours. That it just, and then with you in your case, write it and dispute that is not yours, find inconsistencies, because it's going to be inconsistent because they apparently they don't even know what this is, across all three Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Dispute it and then file a complaint. Do it with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Just get your evidence.
Okay.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is the oversight for the credit bureaus. Okay, they're the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're the government agency. So just make sure you send it certified mail, your disputes, and then if they don't remove it, then file a complaint. You could just go to their website and upload the complaint with your evidence. And that's for everybody else too, that if you disputed something and you got one bureau not removing it, file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Well, I'll tell you, Sherry, I learned more in this time than I went with a company. You probably know them, Lexington Law.
This is how I got started.
And I was paying them for 3 years. And I kept saying, why can't you get them to get this stuff off my credit report? You know, it just seemed like I was beating my head up against the wall. And
yeah.
Finally, I had to cut that umbilical cord and just say, no more money to you. So,
and I want to share y'all, when y'all hear my story about years ago, I went with a collection, a repair company to try to get that second home. And I paid them $500, $525 to remove some inquiries because I didn't know. And they didn't remove one thing. And I needed to call, it was them. That's who it was. And that's what forced me to learn this information to get what I needed to get accomplished. So if you have any more questions or struggles after you take those steps, but you should be able to get it resolved.
Okay, and your website is?
We're gonna send you out the email address. Just email us directly.
I'll send all emails. Let's get to just the last question. And
okay, sure.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well.
All right. Mariel, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, hi, Sherry. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for all the lessons you taught us. I've been following you for years.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I just had one question. I'm coming up on my statute of limitations. I had one of my derogatories deleted from all two of the bureaus except for Equifax.
Okay.
And that should have been deleted because it's over 7 years. I guess I gotta sue them. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Just write the credit bureaus and let them know that this is at this point over the statute of limitations, over 7 years old, to remove it from your credit report.
Okay, I was wondering.
And if they don't, and they usually do. If they don't, take the step like I just spoke to the young lady to put a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So just do it certified and wait for their response. If they don't, I'll just submit a complaint because that's a clear violation there.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for all your help. All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. For somebody just answered a good question. So you guys also look in the chat. Some people have some experience and some knowledge themselves, and it was really a joy doing this webinar tonight. If you guys have any questions for me, you're gonna get the email that my daughter is sending out, and you can reply your questions there, and I'll answer your questions. So I thank you. Diamond, I'm going to let you close it out with the last word if you have any housekeeping to do.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much, everyone who came on. I just want to let you know so that I don't bombard you all with emails, because I know that you guys probably already been bombarded with emails about this. I'm going to send all of the documents, the webinar link, everything that we mentioned, and a lot of people have been requesting the slides. So we'll get all of that done. If you guys could, I know I said 24 hours, but if you guys can give us until about Monday night, you'll have an email with everything, and you'll also have a chance for feedback and questions. And we would really love your feedback about the webinar. So I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you all, and hope that you all have a good night. Like I said, give us until Monday night and you'll hear from us.
And please give me your feedback and let me know where I can improve, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you all. Thank you and enjoy your weekend. Be safe.
Good night.